Chapter 1941. After giving some instructions to the women, Mo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland and arrived at Old Ghost Huang Feng's side. Old Ghost Huang Feng was a cautious person. He did not enter the city recklessly. Instead, he hid in a stone forest not far from the Cloud Heaven City. "Master, are we entering the city now?" Old Ghost Huang Feng immediately saluted when he saw Mo Qingyun and inquired about Mo Qingyun's plan. Hearing Old Ghost Huang Feng's words, Mo Qingyun fell silent for a moment. Then, he said solemnly to Old Ghost Huang Feng, "I'm going to use a secret technique to conceal myself and enter the city. It will be inconvenient for you to follow me. I'll send you to the Fortune mainland first." Old Ghost Huang Feng nodded and was sent to the Fortune mainland by Mo Qingyun. Concealment door. After sending Old Ghost Huang Feng to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun activated the concealment door and slowly walked towards the Cloud Heaven City. A short while later, Mo Qingyun silently entered the Cloud Heaven City. After entering the Cloud Heaven City, Mo Qingyun directly went to Gu Yang's residence to see if Gu Yang was in the city. If Gu Yang was in the Cloud Heaven City, Huang Xiaolong could ask Gu Yang about the current situation. A few moments later, Mo Qingyun arrived at Gu Yang's residence. He was familiar with the place. In the courtyard, Gu Yang was arranging the ingredients for refining pills. His face was filled with self-blame and loneliness. "Martial uncle." Looking at Gu Yang's gloomy expression, Mo Qingyun transmitted his voice and slowly walked towards him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang's expression changed and he looked around in shock. "Martial uncle, I'll stand behind you. Let's find a safe place to talk." Seeing Gu Yang's action, Mo Qingyun transmitted his voice again, telling him that it was not convenient for him to show himself. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang immediately understood that Mo Qingyun was using a concealment technique. Last time, Mo Qingyun had used the same method to sneak away. Understanding this point, Gu Yang no longer hesitated and immediately walked into a secret chamber. When Gu Yang entered the secret chamber, Mo Qingyun hurriedly followed behind him and sent a voice transmission to Gu Yang. Upon receiving Mo Qingyun's signal, Gu Yang activated the secret chamber's spirit array, isolating it from the outside world. As soon as the isolation array was activated, Mo Qingyun appeared in front of Gu Yang. "Qingyun, it's really you." Seeing Mo Qingyun in front of him, Gu Yang's face lit up with joy and excitement. He couldn't believe it. He had seen Mo Qingyun being killed with his own eyes. Now, Mo Qingyun had actually come back to life. After a brief moment of shock, Gu Yang's face lit up with ecstasy as he asked excitedly, "You're all right? Are you really all right? Hurry up and tell me, how did you escape from the Dark Demon Saint?" As soon as Gu Yang finished speaking, he pulled Mo Qingyun to sit down and looked at Mo Qingyun expectantly. Under Gu Yang's questioning, Mo Qingyun didn't hide anything and truthfully told him, "That day, I sensed that something was wrong and knew that it was impossible for me to escape, so I made a decision to sacrifice one of my avatars. The one that was killed that day was one of my avatars." "So it was your avatars?" After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Gu Yang's face lit up. He had a rough idea of what had happened and said, "That avatar of yours is extraordinary. It could even deceive a Saint Realm expert. This is probably beyond everyone's expectations." Gu Yang sighed inwardly and didn't continue to ask how Mo Qingyun managed to hide his true body. In Gu Yang's view, this was Mo Qingyun's secret and it wasn't appropriate for him to ask too much. After briefly explaining the reason for his survival to Gu Yang, Mo Qingyun changed the topic. "Martial uncle, what happened after my avatar was killed?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, a faint smile appeared on Gu Yang's face. "After your avatar was killed, the powerhouses of the Alchemist Temple rushed over and clashed with the powerhouses of the Dark Demon race. When the Dark Demon race's saint ancestor ZK saw that you were killed, he was worried that the powerhouses of other forces would come to help, so he retreated with the powerhouses of the dark demon race. So it was like that. Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding, but immediately felt a little puzzled. He asked, since the dark devil race has retreated, why was the Pill Master Temple empty when we left? Gu Yang wasn't surprised by Mo Qingyun's words and calmly explained to Mo Qingyun, the dark demon race came with great momentum this time. The strength they displayed was not something the Alchemist Temple could contend against. Presumably, the Alchemist Temple moved to the Saint Tower and borrowed the power of the Saint Tower to guard against the dark demon race's next attack. Saint Tower? Mo Qingyun frowned slightly. A curious look appeared on his face as he asked, Martial Uncle, before participating in the Alchemy Master Trial, I told you that if you get into the top 10 of the Alchemy Master Trial, you will have a chance to enter the Sacred Tower to cultivate. What is this Sacred Tower? The Saint Tower is the origin of the Alchemist Temple and the ancestral land of the immortal Desolate Domain's alchemists. Many Saint Stage alchemists are gathered there. When Gu Yang heard Mo Qingyun's question about the Saint Tower, a look of reverence appeared on his face. Most Saint Stage immortal alchemists or Saint Stage alchemists like Senior Pill Devil would seal some of their alchemy insights in the Saint Tower's Pill Enlightenment Hall for the younger generation to comprehend. After listening to Gu Yang's explanation, Mo Qingyun understood the gist of the situation. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had understood, Gu Yang revealed a curious expression and asked Mo Qingyun, Qingyun, after leaving the Alchemist Temple, did you go to Senior Pill Devil's place? He blamed himself a lot for your death. Not yet. In response to Gu Yang's question, Mo Qingyun shook his head, a trace of shame appearing on his face. I still have some matters to take care of. Once I'm done with them, I'll go visit Master. All right. Hearing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Gu Yang nodded and didn't try to change his mind. This is, as Mo Qingyun and Gu Yang were talking, Mo Qingyun suddenly felt a surge of saint force from Gu Yang's body. This is the fluctuation of a saint source brand. Because of the saint source brand that Ting Chai left on him, Mo Qingyun was very sensitive to the aura of the saint source brand. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the saint source brand on Gu Yang's body. He looked at Gu Yang with a tense expression. Gu Yang had been placed with a saint source brand, so it was possible that someone had been monitoring him. Seeing the change in Mo Qingyun's expression, Gu Yang also tensed up and asked, Qingyun, what's wrong? I just felt a surge of saint force from your body. It's the aura of a saint source brand. Hearing Gu Yang's words, Mo Qingyun didn't try to hide anything from him. If I'm not mistaken, there should be someone monitoring you, and the news that I'm still alive should have already been made known to others. P.S. Have a meal and rest. We'll continue later? Chapter 1942. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang was shocked and froze on the spot. He did not expect that someone would leave a saintly source brand on him. More importantly, the person who left the saintly source brand on him might have known that Mo Qingyun was not dead. This was bad news for him and Mo Qingyun. Who was it that left this saint power brand on my body? Could it be Senior Pill Devil? Gu Yang had a puzzled look on his face as he tried to guess who had left the saint source brand behind. However, Gu Yang quickly dismissed the possibility of it being a Pill Devil. If it was Pill Devil, he could have left the saintly source brand on him openly. There was no need for him to do it secretly. Therefore, the person who left the saintly source brand on him did not want him to know. After eliminating the possibility of it being the Pill Devil, Gu Yang's eyes widened as he thought of a very suspicious person. Could it be the City Lord? It must be the City Lord who left behind the Saint Source brand. He must be afraid that I would hold a grudge against him because of you, so he left behind a Saint Source brand to guard against me. Hearing Gu Yang's guess, Mo Qingyun immediately nodded in agreement. He felt that it was a reasonable guess. Other than Luo Batian, there was no need for anyone else to do this, nor would they have the chance to do it quietly. Realizing this, Mo Qingyun and Gu Yang's expressions immediately turned serious. In this way, the news that Mo Qingyun was not dead would naturally be known by Roba Tian. Roba Tian, this old man, is really cunning. After confirming that it was Roba Tian's doing, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious as he became even more wary of Roba Tian. Roba Tian's sneak attack had caught him off guard and disrupted his original plan. Immediately, Mo Qingyun began to think about how to deal with this sudden change. In a secret room in the city lord's mansion, a white-haired old man and a young man were both shocked as they stared at the Saint Energy image in front of them. The old man and the young man were none other than Roba Tian and Luo Yan. Mo Qingyun actually didn't die. How is this possible? After learning that Mo Qingyun was still alive, Roba Tian's face was filled with shock, and he didn't recover for a long time. For him, this news came too suddenly, and he found it hard to believe. At that time, he had personally witnessed Mo Qingyun's body being blasted apart by the Dark Demon Clan's saint. Looks like I've underestimated Mo Qingyun. This brat is indeed not simple. Thinking back to that day, Roba Heaven was even more shocked and felt even more admiration for Mo Qingyun. That day in the Alchemist Temple, there were more than 10 Saint Realm powerhouses, but not a single one of them noticed that Mo Qingyun had escaped. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he really wouldn't have dared to believe that Mo Qingyun was still alive. At this moment, in Roba Tian's heart, his evaluation of Mo Qingyun immediately rose to a new level. Humph. That's not necessarily true. I feel like his death is near. Hearing Roba Tian's words, Luo Yan curled his lips indifferently, and a cold smile appeared on his face. Father, now everyone thinks that Mo Qingyun is dead. If you kill Mo Qingyun now, no one will suspect you because he's already dead. Hearing Luo Yan's words, Roba Tian immediately understood what his father was thinking, and a trace of greed flashed through his eyes. Mo Qingyun had countless treasures on him. If he killed Mo Qingyun, his gains would be immeasurable. Not to mention the myriad medicinal crystal cauldron on Mo Qingyun's body, just the saint blood alone was priceless. More importantly, if he wanted to refine the 9-day Nirvana creation pill, he needed to collect all 9 saint blood. If he could obtain Mo Qingyun's saint blood, he would be able to save a lot of trouble and gather the materials for the pill faster. Although Roba Tian was somewhat tempted, he still maintained his rationality and showed some concern on his face. He said, Mo Qingyun is the pill demon's most valued disciple. The pill demon must have already known that he's still alive. If we act against him, the pill demon will definitely take revenge. Seeing Luo Baishan's reaction, a cold smile appeared on Luo Yan's face. He said, Father, you're overthinking this. Do you think that after Mo Qingyun went through that kind of life and death situation, if the pill devil knew that he was still alive, he would feel at ease letting him act alone? Yen, it seems that you've really grown up. Your analysis is very reasonable. Luo Baishan's misgivings vanished immediately when he heard Luo Yan's words. He sneered, without the pill demon's misgivings, the treasures Mo Qingyun possesses are indeed worth the risk. Father, since you've already made your decision, let's act immediately. Seeing that Roba Tian had decided to kill Mo Qingyun, Luo Yan couldn't wait and immediately urged Roba Tian, in order to prevent that brat from leaving Cloud Sky City to meet the pill demon after meeting Guyang, we must act immediately. Okay, let's go. Hearing Luo Yan's words, Roba Tian didn't delay and immediately went to Guyang's residence with Luo Yan. Soon, the two left the secret room and went to Gu Yang's residence to capture Mo Qingyun. Coincidentally, just as Roba Tian and Luo Yan left the secret room, they met Gong Pingyang who was passing by. Seeing Roba Tian and Luo Yan's hurried expressions, Gong Pingyang frowned slightly and a curious expression appeared on his face. He thought to himself, this father and son pair are in a hurry, they must be hiding some secrets. This old man can go and test them out. With this thought in mind, Gong Pingyang stepped forward and quickly arrived in front of Luo Batian and Luo Yen. City Lord, Brother Luo Yen, I see that the both of you are in a hurry. Could it be that you have encountered a problem that requires my assistance? Haha, there's no need. Brother Mu, please do as you wish. Luo Yen immediately smiled faintly and changed the topic. Brother Mu, if there's anything you need, please don't hesitate. There's no need to be too courteous with us. Thank you for your kind intentions, Brother Luo Yen. Hearing Luo Yan's words, Gong Pingyang immediately cupped his hands in thanks and said, In that case, I won't disturb the two of you any longer. After Luo Yen sent Gong Pingyang away, he and Robatian didn't waste any more time and hurriedly rushed to Gu Yang's residence. They were all worried that if they were too late, it would be a pity if Mo Qingyun managed to escape. Trying to deceive this old man with such a low-level excuse, how laughable. As he watched Luo Yen and Luo Yen gradually disappear into the distance, Gong Pingyang smiled disdainfully. The curiosity in his eyes deepened as he said, This old man wants to see what kind of tricks you two are playing. As Gong Pingyang's words fell, his figure moved and he followed Robatian and Luo Yen. Chapter 1943. Not long after, Gong Pingyang followed Roba and Tian to Gu Yang's residence. In order to avoid being discovered by Roba and Tian, Gong Pingyang didn't enter the courtyard and quietly hid not far away. This father and son pair are sneaking around Gu Yang's residence. What kind of secret are they hiding? Looking at Roba and Tian entering the courtyard, Gong Pingyang's curiosity grew. He quietly released his soul force to observe. Now that his cultivation had returned to the Saint Realm, although his cultivation wasn't as stable as Robatian's, his soul force far surpassed Robatian's. Therefore, he wasn't worried about being discovered by Robatian when he released his soul force. Under Gong Pingyang's observation, Roba and Tian arrived in front of the secret room and said, Exalted Gu Yang, this old man has come to discuss something with you, please come out. As soon as Luo Batian's words were heard by Mo Qingyun and Luo Batian, they were stunned. Robatian actually came so quickly, he couldn't wait a moment longer. The city lord is here. Hearing Robatian's sudden arrival, Gu Yang's eyes widened and he said in shock, Qingyun, what do we do now? Do I have to go out and see the city lord? From the looks of it, your previous deduction should not be too far from the truth. Hearing Robatian's arrival, Mo Qingyun's last bit of hope disappeared. He smiled faintly and said, Robatian and Tian must have come because I'm still alive. They will definitely find a way to make me appear. I'll go with you to see them. You want to see the two of them? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang's eyes widened. He was stunned by Mo Qingyun's decision. Seeing Gu Yang's shocked expression, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and nodded to Gu Yang. Since we can't avoid them, we might as well face them directly. At least we can take the initiative and open the isolation formation. Alright. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had made up his mind, Gu Yang did not say anything else and followed Mo Qingyun's instructions. In his opinion, with Mo Qingyun's identity as Pill Devil's disciple, Robatian should not dare to act rashly. Besides, if Mo Qingyun could escape from the Dark Demon Saint, then even Roba Heaven wouldn't be able to do anything to him. It didn't take long for him to open the formation in Gu Yang's secret chamber. Then, Robatian and Luo Yen appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. Mr. Mo. Mr. Mo. When Robatian saw Mo Qingyun appear, he was immediately shocked and didn't know what to say. Although he knew that Mo Qingyun was still alive, he really didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would come out directly to see him. Originally, he had thought that Mo Qingyun would go into hiding and slowly come out to meet him under the threat of Gu Yang. Now that Mo Qingyun had appeared directly, he was truly shocked and disrupted his plans. City Lord, didn't the two of you come here to see me? You don't have to be so surprised. Looking at the surprised Luo Batian, Mo Qingyun had a look of disdain on his face, as he spoke in a slightly mocking tone. Mr. Mo, you're so humorous. Seeing that their intentions had been exposed, Luo Batian chuckled awkwardly. His expression gradually turned cold as he said, "To be honest, I should be thanking you for taking first place in the Pill Master Trials for my Cloud Heaven City. However, you took what I wanted, so I can only apologize." City Lord, you, when he heard Roba Tian's words, Gu Yang's face was filled with anger and he pointed at the two of them, unable to say anything. When Roba Tian spoke, he felt a strong killing intent from Roba Tian. From this, it could be seen that Luo Batian and his companion were here to kill and rob. He knew that Roba Tian and Gu Yang didn't come with good intentions, but he didn't expect that Roba Tian and Gu Yang would be so ruthless. In response to Gu Yang's shock and anger, Luo Yan smiled proudly and said, "Consecrator Gu Yang, I really have to thank you this time. If it weren't for you, Mo Qingyun wouldn't have come to Cloud Sky City, and we wouldn't have known that he was still alive, let alone have the treasure on him." When he heard Luo Yan's words, Gu Yang immediately blamed himself. He felt that he had harmed Mo Qingyun. Looking at Gu Yang's expression, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "Martial uncle, you don't have to blame yourself. This has nothing to do with you. I had to come to Cloud Sky City." Mo Qingyun didn't lie to Gu Yang. If he wanted to get the Nirvana Elixir's pill formula, he had to come to Cloud Sky City. However, when these words fell into Gu Yang's ears, it had a completely different meaning. In Gu Yang's eyes, Mo Qingyun said this to him because he didn't want him to feel guilty. With this thought in mind, Gu Yang widened his eyes and glared at Roba Tian and Luo Yan. He shouted, "Roba Tian, don't forget that Qingyun is Senior Pill Devil's most valued disciple. If you dare to touch him, wait for Senior Pill Devil's revenge." Hearing Gu Yang's words, Luo Yan smiled and said, "Consecrator Gu Yang, don't use Senior Pill Devil to scare us. In Senior Pill Devil's mind, Mr. Mo has already died in the hands of the Dark Demon Clan. What we need to deal with now is just a dead man." After hearing Luo Yan's words, Roba Tian smiled and said, "Mr. Mo, this old man doesn't want to kill you. Don't say that this old man didn't give you a chance. If you take the initiative to hand over the treasure and let me plant a soul imprint in your knowledge sea, this old man can spare your life." This pair of ungrateful bastards who burned the bridge after crossing the river. Hearing Roba Tian and Luo Yan's words, Gu Yang was so angry that his body couldn't stop trembling. Gu Yang said angrily, then he turned to Mo Qingyun and said, "Qingyun, don't believe their words. These despicable people can't be trusted. As long as you don't give them the treasure, they won't kill you. You're courting death." Hearing Gu Yang's words, Roba Tian's face darkened. He wanted to kill Gu Yang on the spot. What they did to Mo Qingyun couldn't be spread, so Gu Yang couldn't be allowed to live. "Stop!" Seeing Roba Tian's actions, Mo Qingyun immediately shouted at him and stopped Roba Tian. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Roba Tian sneered and stopped attacking Gu Yang. He smiled and said, "Mr. Mo, have you thought about it? If you accept my conditions, not only will I spare you and Consecrator Gu Yang, but I will also put you in an important position in the future." "Accept your conditions? That's impossible." Chapter 1944. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Roba Tian and Luo Yan shuddered as if they were struck by lightning. They were only guessing that Mo Qingyun might not have gone to see the Pill Devil, so they weren't completely sure. If their guess was wrong and they killed Mo Qingyun now, the consequences would be unimaginable. "Father, there's no turning back. We have no other way out." Seeing the hesitant Luo Batian, an anxious expression appeared on Luo Yan's face as he immediately tried to persuade Luo Batian. "Based on what we said just now, this kid will definitely hold a grudge against us. Right now, there is no room for reconciliation between us." Hearing Luo Yan's words, Robotion's face immediately became unsightly. He felt that Luo Yan's words made sense. Seeing Robotion's cold expression, Luo Yan decided to strike while the iron was hot. He persuaded Robotion again, "Father, we have no other way out. At worst, we can just give up on Cloud Sky City after killing this kid." Hearing Luo Yan's suggestion, Robotion immediately made a decision in his heart. Compared to the value of Mo Qingyun's treasures, even if he gave up on Cloud Sky City, he would still make a fortune. "Mr. Mo, this old man has no other choice. I can only die with you." Robotion made his decision in his heart. He stretched out his palm towards Mo Qingyun, and a terrifying saint force erupted from his palm. Facing Robotion's palm, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless and quickly retreated. But to Mo Qingyun's surprise, Robotion's body flickered and closed in on Gu Yang. With Gu Yang's cultivation at the 8th layer of the Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm, he had no chance of resisting Robotion's sudden attack. Gu Yang's neck was gripped by Luo Batian without any resistance. "Martial uncle." Seeing that Gu Yang had been captured by Robotion, Mo Qingyun's expression changed to one of worry. He didn't expect that Robotion's attack on him was just a pretense. His real goal was to deal with Gu Yang. If he wasn't mistaken, Luo Batian had captured Gu Yang in order to blackmail him. Sure enough, Robo caught Gu Yang. He smiled proudly and said, "Mr. Mo, I'll give you 10 breaths of time to consider. If you don't hand over the treasure to this old man, I'll have no choice but to let Gu Yang down." As soon as Robotion finished speaking, a powerful saint power erupted from his palm. "Qingyun, don't worry about me. This old man is not someone who is afraid of death." Under Robotion's control, Gu Yang's face was filled with determination. He said coldly, "Use your trump card and leave immediately. Just remember to avenge this old man when you're successful in your cultivation." "Bastard Robotion, this old man will fight you to the death." As soon as Gu Yang finished speaking, he prepared to self-detonate and take Luo Batian and Luo Batian down with him. Seeing Gu Yang's action, Robotion shook his arm and released a powerful saint power. Under the impact of Robotion's saint power, Gu Yang's self-destruction was immediately stopped. He even lost control of his body. After Luo Batian stopped Gu Yang's self-destruction, the sneer on his face deepened. "Consecrator Gu Yang, seeing that we've known each other for so many years, this old man doesn't want you to die in an embarrassing manner. I hope you'll cooperate with me. Don't force this old man to be ruthless." Bah! As soon as he heard Robotion's words, Gu Yang's face was filled with disdain. He spat at him and said, "The biggest mistake I've made in my life is to know you two dog father and son. You're just 2 dogs in human skin. You're courting death." Hearing Gu Yang's insults, Luo Yan's face darkened. He raised his hand and punched at Gu Yang. Under Luo Yan's punch, Gu Yang's face twitched. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Looking at Gu Yang in Robotion's hand, Mo Qingyun's face was cold. He said to Robotion, "Let Martial Uncle go. Come at me." "Let him go? Are you kidding me?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, Robotion refused without hesitation. The smile on his face became even colder. He said, "Mr. Mo, I'll tell you the truth. Today, none of you will be leaving. The only difference is whether you die a comfortable death or a painful one." Kacha, as soon as Robotion finished speaking, he raised his left hand and crushed the bones in Gu Yang's left hand. Gu Yang screamed as the bones in his left hand were crushed. His face was as pale as paper, and cold sweat poured down his face. After crushing the bones in Gu Yang's left hand, Robotion didn't stop. He reached for Gu Yang's left arm. Robotion put his hand on Gu Yang's left arm. He smiled coldly and said, "Mr. Mo, this old man's patience is limited. Consecrator Gu Yang's bones are also limited. Don't take too long." Seeing Robotion's actions, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. He looked at Roba Tian and Luo Yin coldly. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Gu Yang were confronting each other, Gong Pingyang witnessed everything from outside the courtyard. Mo Qingyun is still alive. Gong Pingyang was shocked to learn that Mo Qingyun was still alive. A sinister smile appeared on his face as he thought to himself, so Luo Batian and his son rushed here in a hurry to kill Mo Qingyun and take his treasures for themselves. At this moment, Gong Pingyang finally understood why Roba Tian and Luo Yin were in such a hurry. You father and son are eating meat, but you should leave some soup for me. Gong Pingyang noticed this and immediately had an idea. He decided to get a share of the soup. Judging from the current situation, Mo Qingyun won't be able to hold on for long. I can't wait any longer. Otherwise, I won't even get to drink the soup. Gong Pingyang said to himself. He didn't hesitate and immediately rushed towards Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun, I didn't think you'd still be alive. You've surprised me. Gong Pingyang's figure flashed and appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. He raised his hand and grabbed at Mo Qingyun. He laughed loudly and said, You were lucky enough to escape me the last few times. Let's see where you can run to this time. As saint's might, why you're not Mu Junting. Sensing Gong Pingyang's saint's might, Roba Tian immediately shuddered. He saw through Gong Pingyang's true identity and yelled out, How dare you behave so atrociously in my Cloud Sky City? Get your ass over here and die. As soon as Luo Batian finished speaking, he struck out with his palm in an attempt to stop Gong Pingyang from attacking Mo Qingyun. Seeing Roba Tian try to stop him, Gong Pingyang reacted quickly. He immediately dodged to the left, easily dodging Roba Tian's palm. Not only that, but Gong Pingyang also came to Luo Yan's side in a flash. He raised his hand and captured Luo Yan. He smiled and said, City Lord Luo, your son is now in my hands. I hope you can stay calm. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but be stunned for a moment before revealing a playful smile. Chapter 1945. Although Gong Pingyang's sudden appearance didn't have good intentions, it turned the situation around. All in all, Mo Qingyun still had to thank Gong Pingyang. It was Gong Pingyang who stopped him from being so passive. Sir, I've treated you with respect since you came to the city. Why do you want to go against me? Looking at Gong Pingyang, who had captured Luo Xian, Luo Baishan's expression darkened as he questioned Gong Pingyang. Gong Pingyang smiled faintly at Roba Tian's question. City Lord, as the saying goes, everyone has a share. This kid has countless treasures on him. Since you two are eating the meat, shouldn't you leave some soup for him? After hearing Gong Pingyang's words, Luo Batian immediately knew what he was thinking. His face gradually darkened. Sir, you have a good plan. Don't forget that you are now in the Cloud Sky City. As long as I give the order, you will immediately be attacked. As soon as Luo Batian finished his words, he unleashed an aura that crushed down on Gong Pingyang. Faced with Luo Baishan's oppressive aura, Gong Pingyang looked indifferent and said, Governor, let's not talk about whether you dare to do so. Even if you do you have the confidence to keep me here? As soon as Gong Pingyang finished speaking, he put on an indifferent expression and raised Luo Yan. He was reminding Roba Tian that if Roba Tian dared to attack, Luo Xian's life would be in danger. Seeing Gong Pingyang's action, Roba Tian was furious. He clenched his teeth and swallowed his anger. Speak. What do you want from this kid? If it's not too much, I can agree to your request. City Lord, this is the right choice. This way, it's a win-win situation. Seeing Luo Batian take a step back, Gong Pingyang smiled proudly. He turned to Mo Qingyun and said, My request is simple. You just have to give me this brat's corpse. I don't want anything else from him. You want Mo Qingyun's body? Luo Baishan's expression flickered as a look of surprise appeared on his face. Then, he sneered, Sir, you're playing with fire. Impersonating Mo Qingyun's identity may bring you great benefits, But you also have to bear great risk. You should consider this carefully. This is my business. Sir City Lord, you don't have to worry about it. Gong Pingyang didn't care about Robotion's words at all. He calmly replied, besides, if I say that I want the all-melting drug crystal furnace and the Qilin Saint blood, you probably won't agree, right? Haha, that is indeed the case. Your Excellency is a sensible person. Robotion laughed and didn't hide his thoughts. If that's the case, then it's decided. Once I force out Mo Qingyun's treasure, I'll hand him over to you. Alright, it's a deal. Gong Pingyang's face lit up when he saw that he had achieved his goal. His mood instantly became better. Mo Qingyun's expression shook when he saw this situation. A bad feeling arose in his heart. He said, "Oh no, I didn't think that these two old dogs wouldn't bite each other. Instead, they reached some kind of agreement. This is going to be troublesome." Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed. He quickly thought of a way to resolve this situation. If that's the case, perhaps I can turn the situation around. Mo Qingyun pondered for a while. He came up with a plan and immediately put it into action. "All of you, come out." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he waved his hand and summoned all the ghosts. As soon as these ghosts were summoned, they appeared beside Gong Pingyang and attacked Luo Yan in a frenzy. Gong Pingyang and Luo Batian had reached an agreement because they had Luo Yan as their trump card. If Luo Yan died, he wouldn't have the right to negotiate with Robotion. Moreover, he would also infuriate Robotion. If he didn't make a move, Luo Yan wouldn't have been killed by Mo Qingyun's sneak attack. Ghost! Ghost! Looking at the sudden appearance of a large group of ghosts, Robotion and Gong Pingyang were shocked. Their minds went blank for a moment. While Robotion and Gong Pingyang were in a daze, Mo Qingyun seized the opportunity and immediately launched a sneak attack on Luo Yan. Imperial Seal Killer Spirit Eye. Mo Qingyun's left eye flashed with gray light. A powerful soul power blasted out and quickly condensed into an imprint. Then, this imposing soul imprint blasted into Luo Yan's sea of consciousness. Puff! After being hit by Mo Qingyun's soul attack, Luo Yan immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His consciousness became sluggish. While Luo Yan's consciousness was sluggish, a Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm ghost smashed its palm on his head. Bang! After being hit by the Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm ghost, Luo Yan's head exploded. Even his soul couldn't escape. He wasn't Mo Qingyun, whose physical strength was as terrifying as a saint artifact. Seeing Luo Yan killed in an instant, Robotion's eyes immediately turned red. His expression became crazy. This huge change was too sudden for him, and it was too much of a shock for him. Originally, they came to force Mo Qingyun to hand over the treasure. In the end, they didn't even get the treasure and Luo Yan was killed. This huge difference made Robotion so angry that he wanted to go crazy. His reason was also quickly fading. Soon, Robotion's reason was replaced by anger. He looked at Mo Qingyun with a dark gaze and said angrily, "Mo Qingyun, you dare to kill my Yan? I'll tear you to pieces." As soon as Robotion finished speaking, he rushed towards Mo Qingyun. He wanted to kill Mo Qingyun on the spot. Shadow Dragon Transformation. Seeing Robotion rushing towards him, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless. He immediately used the Shadow Dragon Transformation to escape. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed. He transformed into the Shadow Dragon state and quickly pulled away from Robotion. My speed seems to be faster than when I was a perfected golden immortal. After transforming into the Shadow Dragon state, Mo Qingyun found that his speed was actually faster than Robotion's. This discovery made Mo Qingyun pleasantly surprised. He became a little excited. In this way, he would have more confidence when facing Saint Stage experts in the future. No matter what, even if he couldn't defeat his opponent, he could still escape. After pulling away from Robotion, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "City Lord, The person who killed Luo Yan was not me, Mo Qingyun. It was Gong Pingyang. If he hadn't suddenly intervened, I wouldn't have had the chance to kill Luo Yan. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he looked at Roba Tian with a look that said, "Do as you wish." Chapter 1946. Men, capture the two of them! Roba Tian roared. His voice resounded throughout the entire Cloud Sky City, reaching every corner of the city. Hearing Roba Tian's summons, the guards and reverends in the city immediately rushed over. In the blink of an eye, the sky above Gu Yang's residence was filled with people. "Commander, how do you? Keep an eye on Reverend Gu Yang. Don't let him escape." Seeing the guards coming out of the city, Luo Batian gave some instructions to each of them before handing Gu Yang over to them. After handing Gu Yang over to How Do You, Roba Tian turned to another person and ordered, "Reverend Sable, capture that brat for me. Even if you have to kill him, don't let him escape." Roba Tian didn't care about anything else now. The only thing on his mind right now was to kill Mo Qingyun and avenge Luo Yan. "Yes, City Lord." Hearing Roba Tian's order, Sable immediately flew over to Mo Qingyun. Seeing that everything was settled, Roba Tian didn't hesitate any longer and immediately flew over to Gong Pingyang. Not only did Gong Pingyang's appearance cause his plan to fail, but it also caused Luo Yan to be killed by Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun wasn't lying. Luo Yan's death was caused by Gong Pingyang. At this moment, Roba Tian's hatred for Gong Pingyang was even greater than Mo Qingyun's. Roba Tian's figure flashed as he joined the battle to deal with Gong Pingyang with the other two true saints. Gong Pingyang's cultivation had just returned to the true saint realm, so it was still a little difficult for him to fight against three true saints at once. Martial Uncle isn't in Roba Tian's hands anymore. He's only being held by a Nine Heavens profound immortal realm cultivator. Maybe I can save him. Seeing that Gu Yang was being held captive by How Do You, Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up as he thought of a way to save Gu Yang. Seeing that Mo Qingyun still dared to think of other things under her pursuit, Sable's face immediately darkened. She angrily said, "Brat, how dare you be distracted by this old man? You're courting death." Raging heavenly waves. Sable waved her right hand and slapped towards Mo Qingyun with boundless saint energy. The saint Sable's eyes Sable Saint Chi like a violent storm's Sable's path. "I have an idea." Tian's eyes lit Sable's Sable is of S Sable's Sable. While Mo Qingyun was pondering, he did not dare to be careless and sped up. Then, he dodged Sable's palm and said with a mocking expression, "Old man, I really couldn't tell that you were a Saint Realm expert. Your attacking methods and speed are even comparable to some Taishian immortals. If you continue to chase me for a few more rounds, you won't tire yourself out, will you? How infuriating! Arrogant little fool, you've forced this old man's hand." Hearing Mo Qingyun's mocking words, Sable was immediately enraged and roared at Mo Qingyun. "Starry water!" Sable waved her arms and a monstrous amount of Saint Chi erupted from her body, instantly covering heaven and earth. Then, the boundless Saint Chi that blotted out the sky fell towards Mo Qingyun like a landslide. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun was immediately overjoyed. This was the effect he wanted. Immediately, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and flew towards How Do You. Boom! Boom! As Mo Qingyun flew away in a flash, the saint energy in the sky crashed down on him like the collapse of heaven and earth. Quick, retreat. This kid wants to drag us down with him. Damn kid, he's too shameless, too despicable. Consecrated Sable's attack is too fast. We can't escape. I don't want to die yet. I won't accept this. Seeing Mo Qingyun getting closer and closer, How Do You and the others panicked and uttered words of fear. Although they were afraid, tragedy could not be avoided. Soon, they were swallowed by the Saint Chi. Imperial Seal Killing Spirit Eye. When Sable's attack affected everyone, Mo Qingyun's left eye flashed with a gray light and launched a soul attack at Haodiu. Haodiu was focused on defending against Sable's attack. He did not expect Mo Qingyun to suddenly attack him. Caught off guard, Haodiu was hit by Mo Qingyun's soul attack. Facing Mo Qingyun's soul attack, Haodiu's face paled and his mind went blank for a moment. Bang! While Haodiu was in a daze, a terrifying Saint Chi broke through his defense and slammed into his body, sending him flying. As Haodiu's body flew backwards, he unconsciously loosened his grip on Gu Yang's right hand. Pooh! As Haodiu loosened his grip, Gu Yang lost his protection and was hit by the Saint Chi. Then, Gu Yang and Haodiu were sent flying towards the ground. Return. Seeing that Gu Yang was not captured by Haodiu, Mo Qingyun connected to the Fortune mainland and sent Gu Yang to the Fortune mainland. After sending Gu Yang away, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered and disappeared into the distance. He laughed and said, "Everyone, I still have to treat Martial Uncle's injuries, so I won't be playing with you anymore." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Roba Tian and the others were shocked. They realized that Mo Qingyun's figure had already disappeared. Gu Yang. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had disappeared, Roba Tian's expression changed and he turned to look at Haodiu. When he saw Haodiu lying on the ground, his face darkened and his body trembled in anger. He had been played by Mo Qingyun again. "Damned brat, if this old man sees you again, I will skin you alive and pull out your tendons." Thinking about the 2 times he had fought with Mo Qingyun and how he had been defeated each time, Roba Tian's heart was filled with resentment and unwillingness. As a true Saint Realm expert, he had been played by a Grand Unity Profound Immortal multiple times. It was a great humiliation. "It's all because of you. You caused me to lose everything. I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death." Since Mo Qingyun had already escaped, Roba Tian had no place to vent his anger. He could only vent it all on Gong Pingyang. Seeing this scene, Gong Pingyang couldn't help but feel depressed. He wanted to cry, but he couldn't. Originally, he had only wanted to get some soup, but now, he had become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. This huge difference made him feel as if there was a stone stuck in his chest. He was extremely depressed. More importantly, with his current strength, he wasn't a match for 4 true Saint Realm experts. At this moment, he couldn't help but feel as if he was blocking a blade for Mo Qingyun. Before long, under Roba Tian and the others' frenzied attacks, Gong Pingyang was helplessly captured. Chapter 1947. Coming out from the Sky Cloud City, Mo Qingyun did not run too far, hiding on a deserted mountain top. Mo Qingyun arrived at a deserted mountain peak. Without any hesitation, he entered the Fortune mainland in a flicker. Mo Qingyun arrived at Gu Yang's side the moment he entered the Fortune mainland, and saw Gu Yang recuperating from his injuries. Sensing Mo Qingyun's approach, Gu Yang's expression changed and he immediately withdrew from his cultivation. "Qingyun, where is this place? How did I suddenly appear here?" Looking at Mo Qingyun, Gu Yang's curiosity was piqued, and he immediately asked Mo Qingyun, "Martial Uncle, your injuries are not light, sit down and listen to me." Since he had brought Gu Yang to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun did not want to hide anything from him, and began to tell him about the Fortune mainland. Hearing Mo Qingyun's story, Gu Yang's eyes widened in shock, and his face was filled with disbelief. "Qingyun, no wonder Senior Pill Devil said that your luck is heaven-defying, it seems like it's true." After listening to Mo Qingyun's story, Gu Yang couldn't help sighing, and admiration for Mo Qingyun rose in his heart. Who would have thought that you would inadvertently merge with a mainland space channel, and can freely travel through it? Mo Qingyun did not tell Gu Yang that the Fortune mainland was formed from his cultivation, only that he had entered it by coincidence. In Gu Yang's opinion, Mo Qingyun was able to enter the Fortune mainland because he had merged with a space channel. Martial uncle, you can rest here and recuperate first, leave the matter of dealing with Roba Tian and the others to me. After talking with Gu Yang for a while, Mo Qingyun comforted him, hinting that Gu Yang did not need to worry about anything. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang immediately became worried, and he hurriedly persuaded Mo Qingyun. Qingyun, Roba Tian is too strong, you must not be reckless. In my opinion, it's better to tell Senior Pill Devil about this matter, and ask him to help. Martial uncle, the path of cultivation is long, and there are countless difficulties along the way. I can't always go to Master whenever I encounter a problem. Mo Qingyun smiled casually, and told Gu Yang his thoughts, insisting that he would handle this matter himself. After listening to Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang no longer tried to persuade Mo Qingyun, as he felt that what Mo Qingyun was right. If he had to rely on the Pill Devil for everything, Mo Qingyun would become dependent on him, which would limit his future growth. Mo Qingyun and Huang Xiaolong chatted for a while before Mo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland. Master, my cultivation has broken through to the 9th level of the 9 heavens' mysterious immortal realm. When Mo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland, the 7-headed green Jiao dragon's excited voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Hearing the 7-headed green Jiao dragon's words, Mo Qingyun's face lit up, and a thought-provoking smile appeared on his face. Now that the 7-headed green Jiao dragon had broken through to the 9th level of the 9 heavens' mysterious immortal realm, he would have more confidence when facing Roba Tian and the others. Mo Qingyun's confidence increased, and he did not delay any longer, rushing towards the Sky Cloud City. While Mo Qingyun was heading towards the Sky Cloud City, an old man and a skinny young man arrived outside the city. If Mo Qingyun was here, he would definitely recognize this old man. He was the Grand Elder of the Alchemist Temple, Udhi. That wretched Mu Junting, how dare he play tricks on me, I must not let him go. Standing in front of the Sky Cloud city gates, the young man's face was gloomy, and he said angrily, that brat Mo Qingyun is lucky to have died in the hands of the Dark Devil race. Otherwise, I would have chopped him into 8 pieces, and tortured him until he wished he was dead. Yang after this incident, you have to be more careful when you interact with people in the future. Looking at the angry young man beside him, Udhi warned him, and said, Mo Qingyun is a living example. If he did not act too high profile, how could he have been targeted by the Dark Devil race and attracted the Dark Devil race's experts to deal with him? Yes, I know. Hearing Udhi's words, Yu Yang revealed a humble expression, and immediately nodded at Udhi. What Udhi said was true. If Mo Qingyun had not been too arrogant, he would not have ended up like this. Yu Yang was silent for a moment, and revealed a somewhat worried expression and asked, Grandfather, if Roba Heaven intends to shield Mu Junting, what should we do next? There are many Saint Realm powerhouses in the Sky Cloud City. I'm afraid we can't use force. Don't worry, with Roba Heaven's selfish nature, he won't do that. Udhi had a confident expression, as if he had seen through Roba Heaven. He was not worried about Yu Yang's worries at all. Seeing Yu Yang still frowning, Udhi revealed a sinister smile and said, even if Roba Heaven shields Mu Junting, you don't have to worry at all. As long as Mu Junting dares to come out of the City Lord's mansion, I can directly kill him in the Sky Cloud City before Roba Heaven notices. Hearing Udhi's words, Yu Yang's expression turned for the better. Next, the two of them rushed towards the City Lord's mansion under the guidance of the guards. It didn't take long for Mo Qingyun to arrive at the outskirts of Cloud Sky City. Not far from the Sky Cloud City, Mo Qingyun used the hidden door and quietly rushed towards the City Lord's mansion. His purpose this time was very simple. It was for the Nirvana Elixir of Creation's pill formula. There was no need to waste time. When Mo Qingyun entered the City Lord's mansion, he saw an old man and a young man slowly approaching him under the guidance of the guards. Seeing the old man and the young man, Emo Qingyun's expression changed slightly, and he immediately recognized the old man. Udihai? Why is he in the Sky Cloud City? Seeing Udihai slowly approaching, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with surprise, and he quietly followed behind him. Not long after, Emo Qingyun followed Udihai and the young man into the city lord's mansion's meeting hall. At this moment, Roba Tian and the rest were already waiting there, and they all smiled and nodded at Udihai. In response to Roba Tian and the rest's nod, Udihai also nodded in response and found a chair to sit down. Master Yu, why have you suddenly come to visit my Sky Cloud City? Do you have any instructions? Seeing Udihai in the hall, Roba Tian smiled faintly and greeted Udihai. Hearing Roba Tian's words, Udihai pondered for a moment, then said, I have come this time mainly to ask City Lord Luo for a person. I hope City Lord Luo can help me. Ask for a person? Roba Tian and the rest looked at each other when they heard this. Roba Tian pondered for a moment, then revealed a curious expression and asked, Master Yu, who is this person you are looking for? If I can help, I will definitely find him for you. The person I am looking for is Mu Junting. Hearing Luo Baishan's question, Udihai did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Chapter 1948. Gradually, everyone's gazes on Udihai and Luo Yunyang became unfriendly. Of all the people Udihai and Luo Yunyang could have chosen, they had chosen Mu Junting. They were really asking for trouble. Mu Junting had been the cause of Luo Xian's death. The reason Roba Tian hadn't killed him was because he wanted to torture him to vent his anger. Udihai frowned slightly when he sensed that the atmosphere in the hall wasn't right. He thought that Roba Tian and the others wanted to protect Mu Junting. City Lord Luo, as long as you are willing to hand over Mu Junting, I can give you some compensation. Name a price. Udihai couldn't keep his cool when he saw that Roba Tian hadn't said anything for a long time. Thus, he started to negotiate terms with Roba Tian. The expressions of Roba Tian and the others turned even uglier when they heard Udihai's words. It seemed like they were going to attack Udihai and Luo Yunyang at the slightest disagreement. Grandmaster Yu, what I want isn't something you can afford. Roba Tian suppressed the anger in his heart and said unhappily. He stood up from his chair and said, Consecrator Shwizi, send the guests off. Send Grandmaster Yu and the others out of the city. As soon as Luo Batian finished speaking, he ignored Udihai and the other man and directly walked out of the meeting hall. Grandmaster Yu, please. Upon hearing Roba Tian's instructions, Consecrator Shwizi extended her hand and gestured for them to leave. She knew that Roba Tian wanted Udihai and Luo Yunyang to leave because he was afraid that Udihai would cause trouble in the city. Let's go. Udihai's face darkened when he saw Roba Tian's actions, and a sullen feeling rose in his heart. In his opinion, Roba Tian had gone too far. This was clearly a form of humiliation for him. It was one thing if he wasn't willing to hand over Mu Junting, but he had actually ordered people to chase them out of the city. That old man Udihai sure has some tricks up his sleeve. He actually managed to save Yu Yang. After listening to everyone's conversation, Emo Qingyun learned of the young man's identity. Surprise rose in his heart as he muttered to himself, If I'm not wrong, Udihai and the other person are looking for Mu Junting to vent for Yu Yang. After all, in their impression, I've already been killed by the Dark Devil race. If they want to vent their anger, they can only look for Mu Junting. Forget it, let's not bother about them. Let's look for the 9 Heavens Nirvana creation pills formula first. Emo Qingyun pondered for a moment, then he quietly left and began to search the city lord's mansion. The city hasn't been very peaceful recently. All of you be careful in case someone comes to break into the prison. Lord Commander, even the Saint Realm expert who caused trouble last time was captured by the City Lord and Lord Consecrator. Who would dare to cause trouble again? I told you to be more vigilant. Just remember that. Don't ask about anything else. While Mo Qingyun was searching, he overheard the conversations of some people. That fake Mu Junting is still alive? Hearing these people's conversation, Mo Qingyun was a little surprised. He immediately came up with a brilliant plan and said with a smile, although this guy has always been unruly to me, we're now on the same line. If I can subdue him, he'll be a powerful helper. Even if I can't subdue him, it's also a good choice to let him go. Mo Qingyun thought that even if he couldn't subdue Gong Pingyang, it would be good to let him out to create chaos. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun quietly walked towards those people and came to the entrance of a prison. Mo Qingyun briefly observed and found that the prison's guards were not as strict as he had imagined. At the entrance of the prison, there were only some 4th or 5th level 9 Heavens Xian immortals. There was only one quasi-saint expert inside the prison. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun carefully walked into the prison and tried to find where Gong Pingyang was locked up. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that there weren't any array formations in the prison. He was able to easily find Gong Pingyang. At this moment, Gong Pingyang's hair was disheveled and his clothes were torn. There were wounds on his body and blood kept flowing out. His hands and feet were bound by some kind of vines, which were constantly devouring his blood and saint energy. After losing a large amount of saint energy and blood, Gong Pingyang looked extremely weak. If it wasn't for his high cultivation, he would have died long ago. Old man, you're not dead yet, right? How about we make a deal? When he arrived near Gong Pingyang, Mo Qingyun sent him a voice transmission and began to negotiate with him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gong Pingyang's expression immediately changed. He immediately looked around. However, after looking around, he couldn't find Mo Qingyun. He could only send a voice transmission to Mo Qingyun. Boy, you're quite brave. You actually dare to come back to the Cloudy Sky City. Since I've suffered a loss, of course I want to fight back. Mo Qingyun casually replied to Gong Pingyang's words. You want to fight back? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gong Pingyang sneered and showed his disdain towards Mo Qingyun. He said, Tell me, what kind of deal do you want to make with me? Since you helped me last time, as long as you agree to submit to me, I'll get you out. How about that? As the current situation wasn't optimistic, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste time and directly said his idea. You want me to submit to you? Do you think it's possible? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gong Pingyang was immediately displeased. He once again showed his disdain towards Mo Qingyun and said, Also, the Cloudy Sky City is heavily guarded. Do you think you can take me out? If I don't have the confidence to take you out, what's the point of me taking you in? Why waste your time here? Mo Qingyun didn't care too much about Gong Pingyang's disdain. He simply replied and said, Now you just have to tell me if you're willing to submit to me or not. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gong Pingyang was a little moved. Perhaps Mo Qingyun could really take him out. He knew very well that if he continued to stay, he would be tortured to death by Robotion. This was something he didn't want to see. However, it was too difficult for him to submit to Mo Qingyun. He felt that he couldn't bring himself to do so. Since you're not willing, I won't accompany you here. Goodbye. Seeing that Gong Pingyang didn't speak for a long time, Mo Qingyun's tone became impatient and he bid farewell to Gong Pingyang. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was about to leave, Gong Pingyang immediately panicked. He knew very well that if he didn't submit to Mo Qingyun would definitely not save him. All along, he had been hostile towards Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun wouldn't save him for nothing. What if he turned the tables on Mo Qingyun? Thinking of this, Gong Pingyang made a decision. He hurriedly transmitted to Mo Qingyun, All right, I'm willing to acknowledge you as my master. Let's plant a soul imprint. Gong Pingyang was straightforward. After deciding to submit to Mo Qingyun, he opened up his mind. Chapter 1949. After subduing Gong Pingyang, Mo Qingyun turned his attention to the vine plant, thinking of a way to cut it off. Although the vine plant's aura was not strong, it looked extremely tough. Otherwise, it would not have been able to bind Gong Pingyang. After observing the vine plant for a while, Mo Qingyun communicated with Tiger Soul, asking if he could cut it off. There was only one chance to save Gong Pingyang. He could not afford to be careless. He had to succeed in one strike. Otherwise, if the guards in the prison were to be alerted, he would not have any more chances. Kid, don't worry, I can cut anything below the grade of a holy artifact. Cutting this kind of vine is too easy. After receiving Mo Qingyun's message, Tiger Soul immediately replied to Mo Qingyun, not putting the vine plant in his eyes. Hearing Tiger Soul's words, Mo Qingyun was relieved. He immediately sent a voice transmission to Gong Pingyang. After I cut off this vine plant, I will send you to a place. During this time, you will feel a pulling force, do not resist it. Okay. Although Gong Pingyang did not know what Mo Qingyun was talking about, he still nodded his head in agreement. His expression became nervous. Whether Mo Qingyun could bring him out or not, the answer would be revealed soon. Before Gong Pingyang's expectant gaze, a broken blade, emitting a terrifying demonic aura, appeared in his line of sight. The moment this broken blade appeared, it gathered a terrifying amount of immortal spiritual force and slashed at the vine plant. Poochie! Under Tiger Soul's domineering slash, the vine plant was cut in half, releasing Gong Pingyang from its bindings. Collect! After cutting off the vine plant, Mo Qingyun sent Gong Pingyang to the Fortune mainland. Transfer gate. After sending Gong Pingyang to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun did not dare to stay any longer and immediately activated the transfer gate. The transfer gate formed and Mo Qingyun entered it, disappearing from the prison in the blink of an eye. Not long after Mo Qingyun disappeared, the guards who were guarding the prison discovered that Gong Pingyang had escaped. Hurry and tell the city lord that someone broke into the prison and rescued the criminal who killed the young lord. Seeing that Gong Pingyang had disappeared, the guards in the prison immediately panicked and rushed to Roba Heaven to report the news. Not long after, the guard arrived at Roba Tian's courtyard with a flustered expression. Reporting to City Lord, something bad has happened. The criminal who killed the young lord has been rescued. When the guard arrived at Roba Tian's courtyard, he panicked and reported that Gong Pingyang had been rescued. Upon hearing the guard's words, Roba's face darkened. He was so angry that the veins on his neck bulged. Patter! Under Roba Tian's rage, the teacup in his hand was crushed into pieces. Throwing the teacup away, Roba Tian stood up from the stone bench and ordered the guards beside him. Immediately search every corner of the city, don't let even a fly escape. Also, immediately leave the city and chase after Yudi Hai. Whether he is the culprit or not, capture him for me. Hearing Roba Tian's order, no one dared to hesitate and immediately went to carry out Roba Tian's order. While Roba Tian and the others were busy searching for Gong Pingyang, Mo Qingyun quietly arrived at the mountainside outside the Cloud Sky City. Mo Qingyun found a secluded place and entered the Fortune mainland in a flicker. Swoosh! Mo Qingyun's figure flickered and appeared beside Gong Pingyang, looking at him with a faint smile on his face. Although he did not obtain the 9 Heavens Nirvana Creation Pills pill formula, subduing a true Saint Realm expert was also a great harvest. Where is this? Seeing Mo Qingyun appear in front of him, Gong Pingyang's curiosity was piqued and he asked Mo Qingyun. Hearing Gong Pingyang's question, Mo Qingyun did not answer. He said indifferently, "You don't need to ask where this place is. What you need to do now is to recover from your injuries as soon as possible. I have something important to instruct you." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took out some pills and handed them to Gong Pingyang. He said, "Here are some healing pills. Refine them and heal your injuries. You should be able to recover much faster." The medicinal pills that Mo Qingyun handed to Gong Pingyang were the ones he had obtained in the Blue Jade Medicine Crystal Palace's storeroom. Saint-grade medicinal pills. Looking at the pill that Mo Qingyun handed over, Gong Pingyang's eyes instantly widened. He couldn't believe that this was real. He knew that Mo Qingyun had many treasures on him, but giving him saint-grade medicinal pills so casually was too extravagant. At this moment, he finally understood why Robatian was in such a hurry to make a move on Mo Qingyun. Gong Pingyang was a true Saint Realm expert after all, and his state of mind was very strong. He quickly calmed down. Then, without hesitation, Gong Pingyang consumed the medicinal pills to recover from his injuries. While Gong Pingyang was recovering from his injuries, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of Gu Yang. "Qingyun, you're here." Sensing Mo Qingyun's approach, Gu Yang withdrew from his cultivation and happily communicated with Mo Qingyun. After a period of cultivation and recuperation, he had regained some feeling in his crippled hand. He believed that he would be able to recover after some time, and it wouldn't affect his daily life. "Martial uncle, now that you've fallen out with Robatian, what do you plan to do next?" After exchanging some pleasantries with Gu Yang, Mo Qingyun asked. He already had a plan in mind. Gu Yang was an 8-star immortal alchemist, and if he was willing to stay on the Fortune mainland, it wouldn't be a bad idea to guide Su Chao and Qiu Yi in refining pills. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Gu Yang's eyes flashed with confusion, and he said, "Now that the alchemist temple has moved, I have nowhere else to go. If nothing unexpected happens, I should find a new force and continue to work as a consecrator." Hearing Gu Yang's plan, Mo Qingyun no longer hid his thoughts and went straight to the point. "Martial uncle, if you don't mind, you can stay here. I have a few clansmen who want to learn alchemy. You can give them some guidance when you're free." "Your clansmen are also here?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang's curiosity was piqued, and he was tempted by Mo Qingyun's suggestion. If he could stay on the Fortune mainland, it wouldn't be a bad choice. He would have one less worry and trouble. Seeing Gu Yang's interest, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and led him to the Qingyun Valley. Before long, Mo Qingyun and Gu Yang arrived at the Qingyun Valley. As soon as Gu Yang entered the Qingyun Valley, a look of shock appeared on his face, and he felt as if he had arrived in another world. The cultivation of the people here was very low, and the highest was only in the golden immortal realm. Some of them were only in the 2nd or 3rd stage of the martial path. As far as Gu Yang knew, the babies on the desolate mainland were born with higher cultivation than him. After a brief moment of shock, Gu Yang's curiosity grew even stronger. Chapter 1950. With Mo Qingyun leading the way, Gu Yang soon met up with Su Chao, Du Luo, and the others. Seeing Du Luo and the others refining pills, Gu Yang's mind went blank for a moment. Spirit pills? They're refining spirit pills? Gu Yang had thought that Mo Qingyun's clan members would be able to refine at least a 1-star immortal pill. But the result was different. These people were only refining spirit pills, and they weren't high-grade ones at that. This situation was so unexpected that he wasn't prepared for it at all. However, after a short moment of shock, Gu Yang felt relieved. Not everyone was as monstrous as Mo Qingyun, whose cultivation talent was terrifying. Moreover, Mo Qingyun's clan members' bone ages weren't high. It was already very difficult for them to reach this level of skill. He believed that with his guidance, everyone would be able to refine immortal pills soon. "Qingyun, who is this senior?" Sensing Gu Yang's powerful aura, Du Luo revealed a respectful expression and asked Mo Qingyun about Gu Yang's identity. Hearing Du Luo's question, Mo Qingyun introduced Gu Yang to everyone. "This is my new martial uncle, Gu Yang. He's an 8-star immortal pill master. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask him." Hearing Gu Yang's immortal pill master rank, Du Luo and the others narrowed their eyes in shock. Among them, excluding Mo Qingyun, the highest rank was only a 1-star immortal pill master. From this, it could be seen just how high Gu Yang's standing was in their eyes. After a while, as everyone became familiar with each other, Gu Yang began to explain to everyone. A few hours later, Gu Yang stopped teaching everyone and left Qingyun Valley with Mo Qingyun. With a shocked expression, he said, "I didn't expect that your cultivation path started from the first stage of the martial path." Gu Yang had also learned about Mo Qingyun's past from everyone when he was explaining things to them. Originally, in his mind, Mo Qingyun should be a direct descendant of some great power, receiving all kinds of special pointers from a young age. What he didn't expect was that not only was Mo Qingyun not a direct descendant of a major power, but he was actually a disciple of a small family from a vassal continent. The gap between the two was as huge as a chasm. It was precisely because of this that Mo Qingyun's talent was even more terrifying. "Senior uncle, have you considered my suggestion?" After leaving Qingyun Valley, Mo Qingyun asked for Gu Yang's opinion and prepared to carry out his plan. Previously, he had prepared to nurture a force, but he had no experts by his side. Regardless of whether it was Old Ghost Huang Feng or Gong Pingyang, they were all top-notch experts. If they were allowed to guide everyone's cultivation, it would definitely allow everyone's cultivation speed to reach a whole new level. "I promise you, from now on, I will stay and guide everyone in alchemy." Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, Gu Yang agreed without any hesitation. There was a look of anticipation on his face as he said, "Ever since Master passed away, I have been drifting around like a wild crane. During this time, I have taught many alchemists, but I have never had the experience of guiding others from the basic. This should be a very interesting thing." Hearing Gu Yang's promise, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy, and he became even more excited. With Gu Yang's guidance, Qingyun Valley's alchemy problem was basically solved. "Since I'm going to establish a force, Qingyun Valley won't be able to accommodate all of us in the future. I need to find a new place." Mo Qingyun thought for a moment, and with a clear blueprint for the future, he began to choose a location to establish his sect. Following that, Mo Qingyun and Gu Yang searched the Fortune mainland carefully before settling on a location. It was a valley with underground lava flowing through it. According to Gu Yang's words, refining pills and smithing would be much easier there. Since Gu Yang had said so, Mo Qingyun naturally wouldn't object. Without further ado, he began to construct buildings in the valley. After the buildings were set up, Mo Qingyun began to set up a defensive formation. Gu Yang was dumbfounded as he watched. This was the first time Gu Yang had seen Mo Qingyun's methods, and he didn't expect Mo Qingyun to know about formations. Just like that, Mo Qingyun spent 8 days to complete the initial construction of the sect. "Qingyun, since it's a sect, you should give it a name." Seeing that the sect was completed, Gu Yang smiled happily and suggested to Mo Qingyun. Hearing Gu Yang's suggestion, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment, then said, "Since this is the Fortune mainland, I'll name it Fortune Immortal Palace." Fortune Immortal Palace, this name is not bad. After listening to Mo Qingyun's explanation, Gu Yang immediately praised Mo Qingyun's choice of name. At this time, while Mo Qingyun and Gu Yang were talking, Gong Pingyang sent a voice transmission to Mo Qingyun. "Master, this old man's injuries have healed. Do you have any instructions for me?" Hearing Gong Pingyang's words, Mo Qingyun's eyebrows rose, and a smile of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. Since everything was settled, it was time for him to leave the Fortune mainland and explore the Sky Cloud City. Old Ghost Huang Feng, stay here temporarily and assist Martial Uncle in completing the Fortune Immortal Palace. Before Mo Qingyun left, he summoned Old Ghost Huang Feng to assist Gu Yang. After all, there were many things that needed to be taken care of in the initial stages of a sect, and Gu Yang alone wasn't enough. Initially, Mo Qingyun wanted to find more helpers for Gu Yang, but those around Gu Yang were mostly from the god race. Mo Qingyun felt that Gu Yang's way of thinking was different from the Pill Devils, and he wouldn't be able to let go of the grudge in the short term. Therefore, Huang Xiaolong decided not to let Kuo Lei and the others assist Gu Yang in completing the Fortune Immortal Palace. After settling everything, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, appearing beside Gong Pingyang. You stay here for the time being, wait for me to go to the Sky Cloud City to investigate the situation, then you can go out and assist me. Mo Qingyun came to Gong Pingyang's side, and after giving him some instructions, he left the Fortune Mainland. Leaving the Fortune Mainland, Mo Qingyun activated the concealment gate and rushed towards the Sky Cloud City. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Sky Cloud City, and entered the City Lord Manor with ease. Perhaps because Gong Pingyang had escaped, the City Lord Manor's security was much tighter than before. However, this was of no use to Mo Qingyun at all. It was as if it existed in name only. Mo Qingyun walked into the City Lord Manor as if he was walking in his own courtyard, without the slightest obstruction. Chapter 1951. Roba Tion's residence and Cloud Sky City's treasury are the most likely places to find the 9-day Nirvana creation pill recipe. While searching for the 9-day Nirvana creation pill recipe, Mo Qingyun was also trying to figure out where it was most likely to appear. Not only could he save a lot of effort, but he could also save a lot of time. After an unknown period of time, Mo Qingyun stopped in his tracks when he passed by a room. He's gone too far. This Roba Tion is too despicable. He actually imprisoned us here. Yang don't be rash. Let's just wait and see. I just didn't expect Mo Qingyun to still be alive. Mo Qingyun is really lucky. So many experts from the Dark Devil tribe were dispatched, but they still couldn't get rid of him. This Mo Qingyun is not simple. Yang you should learn from his methods in the future. Mo Qingyun stood outside the room. He could hear every word of the conversation in the room. Hearing the conversation, Mo Qingyun's eyes narrowed slightly. He rubbed his chin with his index finger and said, I didn't expect Yudi Hai and Luo Yan to be captured again after leaving. It must be because I saved Gong Pingyang and made them scapegoat. Mo Qingyun's mind spun. He immediately guessed the reason and came up with a plan. After I killed Luo Yan, I caused Roba Tion to lose his mind. If Yu Yang is killed here, and by Gong Pingyang at that, Yudi Hai will probably go crazy. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he felt that this plan was feasible and knew how to carry it out. Immediately, he transmitted a message to Gong Pingyang and told him what to do next. After he finished, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and entered Yudi Hai and Luo Yan's room. After arriving at Yudi Hai's room, Mo Qingyun did not delay and immediately summoned Gong Pingyang. Emperor's Seal Murderous Spirit Eyes. When Mo Qingyun summoned Gong Pingyang, he also used a soul attack, releasing a terrifying soul force. Mo Qingyun's soul force shot out from his left eye, turning into a strange soul imprint that slammed into Yudi Hai's sea of consciousness. Yudi Hai screamed in pain when he was attacked by Mo Qingyun, and his consciousness blurred for a moment. While Yudi Hai's consciousness was in chaos, Gong Pingyang's palm landed on Yu Yang's head, turning him into dust. After killing Yu Yang, Gong Pingyang didn't hesitate and dashed out of the room. While Gong Pingyang's room, and Luo Yan's Gong Pingyang, Luo Yan's body, Luo Yan's body. The entire process was extremely smooth, without the slightest mishap, as if it had been rehearsed many times. It's him! Yu Yang Yangs use eyes Yangs Yang Yangs. Yu Yang was familiar with Mu Junting, and although Yudi Hai wasn't familiar with Mu Junting, he had seen him once or twice. Therefore, when Yudi Hai saw Gong Pingyang's back, he immediately knew who had killed Yu Yang. Roba Tion, you've gone too far, this old man will take you down with me, Seeing Yu Yang killed by Gong Pingyang, Udihai roared angrily and dashed out of the room. In his opinion, Luo Batian was the one who had arranged for Yu Yang's death. If it wasn't for Roba Tian's order, with Mu Junting's identity, how could he have the guts to kill Yu Yang? More importantly, even if Mu Junting had the guts, he didn't have the ability. Earlier, when Mu Junting attacked Udihai, there was clearly someone helping him in the dark, using a soul attack to attack Udihai. At this moment, when Mu Junting was running away, there was clearly someone helping him in the dark, bringing him away. The whole process was done with great familiarity. If it wasn't because they had undergone long training, then they were very familiar with the Castellan manner. This way, it wasn't obvious that this had been ordered by Roba Tian in the dark. Actually, Udihai thought this way because he was so angry that he couldn't think too deeply about it. If he had calmed down and thought about it, he would have realized that there were many loopholes in his conjecture. Of course, Udihai didn't have time to think about this. Right now, he just wanted to take revenge on Roba Tian. Udihai, you're too impudent. When he saw Udihai's actions, Roba Tian and the others immediately went up to him with gloomy expressions on their faces. Udihai ignored Roba Tian's displeasure and anger. He just gritted his teeth and shouted, "So what if I'm impudent? Today, not only am I going to be impudent, but I'm also going to destroy the Cloud Sky City." As soon as Udihai said that, he threw a palm strike at a majestic building. Thanks to Udihai's palm strike, the majestic building turned into a pile of rubble in the blink of an eye. "I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. You're courting death." Seeing Udihai's actions, Roba Tian couldn't tolerate it any longer. He ordered everyone coldly, "Kill this old man. Let him know before he dies that the Cloud Sky City isn't a place for him to behave atrociously." When they heard Roba Tian's order, Reverend Shuizi and the others immediately obeyed and charged at Udihai. Immediately after, an unprecedented battle between stage powerhouses unfolded in the Cloud Sky City. "They're really fighting." Emo Qingyun pursed his lips as he watched the battle between Udihai and the others. His mind spun rapidly as he muttered to himself, "If I can subdue Udihai as well, my battle prowess will soar once more and I'll be able to face Luo Batian head-on." As soon as this thought appeared in his mind, Emo Qingyun's heart was immediately moved as he thought about how to accomplish it. "If I want to save Udihai, I'll have to let Gong Pingyang take action." But Yu Yang was killed by Gong Pingyang. Emo Qingyun's mind spun as he found the key point. He had to solve this problem. When Emo Qingyun thought of this, he transmitted his voice to Gong Pingyang and asked, "Gong Pingyang, how long will it take for you to change your body?" "Master, if it's a new body, it will take a few days to get used to it." Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Gong Pingyang answered truthfully. He then added, "But if it's my original body, I'll be able to get used to it in at most an hour. My body is in the Cloud Sky City. I can take you there now." "If that's the case, then there's no problem." When he heard Gong Pingyang's words, Emo Qingyun's eyes lit up and a bright smile appeared on his face. He didn't expect everything to go so smoothly. Before long, Emo Qingyun arrived outside Mu Junting's residence under Gong Pingyang's guidance. When he arrived, Emo Qingyun didn't dare to be courteous and directly kicked the door open. "Emo Qingyun, why are you here?" Mu Junting was immediately startled by the sudden visit of Emo Qingyun. He instinctively called out Emo Qingyun's name. Chapter 1952. "You. How do you know it's me?" Seeing Emo Qingyun recognize him, Mu Junting's body trembled, his complexion turning pale at once. For Emo Qingyun to be able to recognize him, those little tricks behind his back must have been known by Emo Qingyun. With Emo Qingyun's personality, he definitely would not let him off. This time, he was really dead for sure. "Isn't this question simple? You come and see who he is." Looking at the flustered Mu Junting, Mo Qingyun waved his arm and summoned Gong Pingyang out. Master! Seeing Gong Pingyang suddenly appear, Mu Junting's legs immediately turned soft, his entire person collapsing onto the ground. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that Gong Pingyang would come with Mo Qingyun. I'll leave him to you. Don't kill him yet. I still have use for him. Looking at Mu Junting, who collapsed on the ground, Mo Qingyun found it hard to talk nonsense with him and directly ordered Gong Pingyang. Yudi Hai was currently fighting with Robatian and the rest. It looked like he probably could not last for long. Hence, time was very tight. Mo Qingyun did not want to talk nonsense with Mu Junting and affect his entire plan, resulting in him not being able to save Yudi Hai and leave in time. Master! Hearing how Gong Pingyang addressed Mo Qingyun, Mu Junting immediately opened his mouth wide, his expression becoming dazed. He did not dare to believe that even a powerful existence like Gong Pingyang was also subdued by Mo Qingyun. Without waiting for Mu Junting to recover from his shock, Gong Pingyang slapped a palm at him and started swapping bodies with him anew. While Gong Pingyang was swapping bodies, Mo Qingyun arrived at the top of a tall building and observed the battle between Luo Batian and the other four. Mo Qingyun simply swept a glance and his brows knitted tightly. He discovered that Yudi Hai's situation was very bad. Yudi Hai could be said to be surrounded by danger right now, constantly struggling on the line between life and death. He could be heavily injured or killed at any time. Judging from the current situation, Yudi Hai will probably be killed by Luo Batian before Gong Pingyang's body swap is over. After observing the battle situation of Robatian and the others, Mo Qingyun guessed the result and thought about how to prolong this time. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and decided to reveal some of his trump cards to help Yudi Hai resolve the current situation. The sealed door. A mini light gate quickly formed in front of Mo Qingyun, turning into a stream of light that blasted towards Roba, Sky, and the other three. Because the speed of the sealed door was too fast and there was no aura fluctuation, it quickly hit Consecrator Watersilk. Although Reverend Watersilk wasn't the strongest, her attacking style was unique. She posed the greatest threat to Yudi Hai. Due to Reverend Watersilk's assistance, Yudi Hai was constantly restrained, unable to display his full strength. Puff! Reverend Shuai's face turned pale, and she spat out a mouthful of blood after being hit by the sealed door. Reverend Shuai's aura rapidly weakened. Reverend Shuai, what's wrong? Luo Batian and the others were shocked when they saw Reverend Shursan's abnormal behavior. They immediately asked Reverend Shursan. Hearing Robatian and the others' questions, Reverend Shuai's expression became tense and she fearfully replied, "City Lord, I was ambushed by someone. It's an ability that can seal cultivation, soul, and vitality. This person is very likely to be hiding nearby. Everyone must be careful of him." Hearing that, Robatian and the others' expressions changed drastically. They divided some of their attention to their surroundings. As Robatian and the others were distracted, their attacks weakened, allowing Yudi Hai's situation to turn for the better. However, the difference between the two sides was too great. Even if Robatian and the others were distracted, Yudi Hai was still unable to contend against them. If this situation continued, Yudi Hai would still be unable to escape death. It was only a matter of time. There's an expert secretly helping me. Is it an expert from the Pill Master Temple? Yudi Hai immediately rejoiced when he discovered that someone was helping him. He began to guess who it was. As Yudi Hai guessed, Mo Qingyun used the sealed gate again and attacked another reverend. Just like Reverend Shuai, this reverend was unable to defend himself in time against the sealed gate's attack. After being attacked by the sealed door, the worshipper's cultivation, soul, and blood began to rapidly decline. Who is it? Show yourself if you have the ability. Don't sneak around in the dark. Seeing the two reverends injured one after another, Robatian's face darkened and he roared at the surroundings. However, The only response to Robotion was silence. No one spoke in the surroundings. Before Robotion could relax, the final reverend was struck by the sealed gate as well. Robotion immediately ground his teeth in anger when he saw this. He bellowed, "Don't even think about saving someone from my hands. Everyone, don't hold back anymore. Kill Udihai as quickly as you can." With that, Robotion's attacks immediately became fierce. He attacked Udihai furiously. As Robotion and the others attacked with their full strength, Udihai's situation became perilous once more. However, after learning that someone was secretly helping him, Udihai's morale swelled significantly. He laughed aloud. "Robotion, the four of you couldn't even touch a hair on me when you were at your peak earlier. Not only are you injured now, but there's also an expert secretly helping me. Let's see what you can do. Haha." While Udihai was laughing, Robotion was also struck by the sealed gate. His cultivation, soul, and vitality were all sealed. "Robotion, if I leave this place alive today, I'll definitely come back to bathe Cloud Sky City in blood." Seeing that Robotion was also struck by the sealed gate, Udihai became even more pleased. The murderous intent on his face became even more intense. He had to avenge today's death. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As soon as Robotion was struck by the sealed gate, 3 arrows containing terrifying saint energy shot through the air toward him. Sensing the 3 terrifying arrows, Luobatian panicked and hurriedly dodged to the side. "Let's see where you're going to hide." As Robotion dodged, he also noticed Emo Qingyun's existence. He threw a palm strike in Emo Qingyun's direction. Instantly, a huge palm containing terrifying saint energy slammed into the building under Emo Qingyun's feet, turning it into ruins. That was close. If I don't use the Shadow Dragon transformation, it'll be difficult to dodge a saint's attack. After narrowly dodging Robotion's palm strike, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with lingering fear. He had a very direct understanding of the difference between him and a saint. Emo Qingyun knew this, so he didn't continue to help. He only shot an arrow to assist Udihai at the most critical moment. Just like that, with Emo Qingyun's help, Udihai struggled to hold on. Chapter 1953. Looks like we were overthinking things. The person helping you in the dark is a coward. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had not appeared for a long time and did not show any powerful attacks, Robotion smiled proudly. In his opinion, although Emo Qingyun had caused trouble for them, he could not change the final result. If this situation continued, if nothing unexpected happened, Udihai would definitely not be able to escape this calamity. Hearing Robotion's words, Udihai's expression turned serious and his aura weakened. From the battle just now, the situation was as Robotion had said. The person helping him in the dark was not strong. Otherwise, he would not have needed to hide and could have come out to fight. As soon as Luobatian finished speaking, a powerful saint aura burst out from one of the houses. Then, everyone saw a skinny old man quickly flying toward Robotion and the others. This skinny old man was Gong Pingyang, who had changed back to his original form. "Grandmaster Yu, I am here to help you on the orders of my master." Gong Pingyang came to Udihai's side and stated his purpose. He looked at Robotion and the others with disdain and said, "Robotion, you should be glad that my master did not appear. Otherwise, you would not have survived until now." "Thank you, sir, and your master." Seeing that Gong Pingyang had come to help, Udihai was immediately overjoyed. The gloom in his heart was swept away. Although Gong Pingyang's aura was not stable, with the help of a saint, the situation was completely different. Although they were still no match for Robotion and the others, it would not be difficult for them to leave. Seeing Gong Pingyang's appearance, Luobatian and the others' expressions immediately turned serious. Although they still had the upper hand, it was probably impossible for them to keep Udihai and the others here. "Don't linger. Retreat from Cloud Sky City first and wait for my master's orders." When Gong Pingyang joined the battle, he gave Udihai a reminder and led Udihai to retreat as they fought. Not long after, Roba Tian and the others moved from inside the city to outside the city. Seeing that they had left Cloud Heaven City, Gong Pingyang pretended to smile mysteriously and said loudly, "Roba Tian, if you have the ability, come and try. This old man guarantees that you will not be able to return." Hearing Gong Pingyang's words, Roba Tian's expression immediately tensed up, and a strong wariness appeared on his face. It couldn't be helped. Gong Pingyang and the master behind him were too mysterious. He didn't dare to underestimate such a mysterious opponent and had to deal with him carefully. There's no need to chase. The more Roba Tian thought about it, the more apprehensive he became. He stopped chasing after Gong Pingyang and the other man and watched them leave unwillingly. Reverend Shui Si and the others were puzzled by Roba Tian's actions. She said, "City Lord, the two of them are still no match for us. We can't kill them. It's very difficult." Roba Tian shook his head when he heard the Reverend Shui Si and the others' words. He said with wariness on his face, "That old man in black is so fearless. He must have some powerful backup plan and wants to lure them into a trap." Reverend Shui Si and the others all nodded when they heard Roba Tian's question. They agreed with Roba Tian's point of view. Afterwards, Roba Tian and the others no longer hesitated. They all flew back to Cloud Heaven City. Seeing that the situation had stabilized, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed, and the worry in his heart disappeared. It's time to take Mu Junting away. Seeing that Gong Pingyang and the other man were no longer in danger, Mo Qingyun returned to his room and left Cloud Heaven City with Mu Junting. As soon as Mo Qingyun left Cloud Heaven City, he directly went to find Gong Pingyang and the other man to meet up with them. Before long, Mo Qingyun saw Gong Pingyang and the other man and arrived before them. When Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Gong Pingyang's group, he removed the concealment door and appeared in front of them. "Master!" Seeing Mo Qingyun arrive before them, Gong Pingyang bowed and said, "We've brought them out. What should we do next?" "Master? His master is Mo Qingyun? It was Mo Qingyun who saved me earlier?" Hearing Mo Qingyun and the other man's conversation, Udihai's mind was in a mess. He was unable to recover for a long time. Logically speaking, he had almost killed Mo Qingyun earlier. Mo Qingyun should hate him very much. Why would he save him earlier? Wasn't this very illogical? "Great Elder Udihai, we meet again." Looking at the shocked Udihai, a faint smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face as he casually greeted Udihai. Hearing Mo Qingyun's greeting, Udihai immediately became alert. He stared at Mo Qingyun coldly and said, "Young man, let's not beat around the bush. Why did you save me?" "I don't have any other intentions. I just want you to submit to me." Mo Qingyun did not hide anything from Udihai's question. He answered without hiding anything. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Udihai's expression immediately froze. He was frightened by Mo Qingyun's thoughts. Following that, Udihai's expression became unsightly. Some hatred appeared in his eyes as he said, "Brat, don't think that I won't do anything to you just because you saved me. If you dare to disrespect me again, don't blame me for being ruthless. Great Elder Udihai, don't be in such a hurry to get angry with me." Mo Qingyun waved his hand with a faint smile at the furious Udihai. He tossed Mu Junting out and said, "In order to show my sincerity, I'll hand this person over to you first. I'm sure you know very well that the conflict and hatred between young Master Yu Yang and I was completely instigated by him." Mu Junting. Seeing Mo Qingyun toss Mu Junting out, Udihai immediately became furious. He raised his hand and slammed it towards Mu Junting. Mu Junting immediately panicked when he saw Udihai attack him, and he said in a pleading tone, "Senior Yu, please listen to me. Mo Qingyun is to blame for all of this. He was the one who caused all of this. before Mu Junting could finish speaking, Udihai killed him with a single palm strike, causing him to fall to the ground with remaining grievances. Udihai's face became cold after killing Mu Junting. He turned his head towards Emo Qingyun and said, "Young man, thank you for saving me earlier and capturing Mu Junting for me. From now on, we're even. Farewell." With that, Udihai became unwilling to stay any longer. He prepared to leave immediately. "Hold on." Gong Pingyang's face turned cold when he saw Udihai about to leave. He immediately called out to him. Chapter 1954. Boy, there's a limit to my patience. I advise you not to push your luck. Udihai's face immediately darkened when he saw that his path had been blocked. He turned to look at Emo Qingyun and said, "The two of you aren't a match for me. If you infuriate me, then don't blame me for disregarding your kindness from before." Udihai left these harsh words and turned around again, ignoring Emo Qingyun and Gong Pingyang. Seeing Udihai's action, the smile on Emo Qingyun's face deepened. He made a decision in his heart and said, "Supreme Elder Udihai, I've made it very clear just now. My purpose of saving you is to make you submit to me. If I let you go so easily, wouldn't it be a waste of my effort? Boy, are you sure you want to do this?" Hearing the words from behind him, Udihai slowly turned around and looked at Emo Qingyun with a dark gaze. He said, "You better think carefully. Once I make my move, I won't show you any mercy. I've thought it through." Facing Udihai's cold gaze, Emo Qingyun faced him without fear. His expression gradually turned cold. He said, "If I can't subdue you, I'd rather kill you than let you leave this place." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Udihai clenched his fist. He was no longer willing to tolerate Emo Qingyun. He felt that Emo Qingyun's words had crossed his bottom line. "Boy, you forced me to do this. Since you're looking for death, don't blame me for being merciless." Udihai waved his arms in a circle and quickly gathered a large amount of saint energy. He blasted it toward Emo Qingyun. Ice-breaking galaxy. Under Udihai's attack, the surging saint energy pounced toward Emo Qingyun like an ice wolf. Facing Udihai's attack, Emo Qingyun did not dare to be careless. He immediately retreated. Shadow Dragon Transformation. As Emo Qingyun retreated, his body began to change as well. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a shadow dragon. Emo Qingyun unleashed his dragon's aura and charged into the sky to avoid being frozen by the ice below. "Gong Pingyang, do it! Life or death." Since he had decided to make a move, Emo Qingyun was not willing to show any mercy and prepared to deal with Udihai with all his might. Udihai was a Saint Realm expert, so they couldn't be careless when dealing with him. Otherwise, it would be too late for regret. "Yes, master." After receiving Emo Qingyun's instructions, Gong Pingyang immediately nodded and rushed towards Udihai. Very quickly, Udihai and Gong Pingyang were engaged in close combat. The two of them were evenly matched. Combination Gate. While Emo Qingyun was instructing Gong Pingyang, he immediately used the Combination Gate to increase his and Gong Pingyang's battle power. As the Combination Gate was completed, it unleashed several waves of mystical power that enveloped Emo Qingyun and the other two. Puff. After being eroded by the sealing power of the Combination Gate, Udihai's cultivation, soul, and blood chi were immediately sealed by a force. Then, the aura that Udihai emitted immediately dropped by a level and became similar to Gong Pingyang's. Could this divine ability be? Udihai's eyes widened when he realized the situation on his body. He thought of what happened to Robotion and the others. After realizing this, Udihai began to panic. He was fearful of Emo Qingyun and Gong Pingyang. Judging from the current situation, the situation was not very optimistic for him. "Seven-headed green serpent, come out and help me." The seven-headed green serpent's current strength had reached the 9th level of the Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm. It was not much different from Udihai. In addition, it had the physique of a primordial divine beast, and was recultivated as a Saint Realm expert. Its true battle power could not be underestimated. A Saint Realm expert. If I devour this guy, I will have a chance to break through to the Saint Realm. Looking at Udihai, the seven-headed green serpent was overjoyed. A bloodthirsty look flashed in its eyes. Immediately, the seven-headed green serpent swung its tail and charged towards Udihai. Imperial Seal Killing Spirit Eyes. After summoning the seven-headed green serpent, Mo Qingyun did not stay idle. He immediately attacked Udihai. A terrifying soul power blasted out from Mo Qingyun's left eye and turned into a strange soul seal. As soon as the soul seal was formed, it flashed and blasted into Udihai's sea of consciousness. After being attacked by Mo Qingyun, Udihai immediately screamed. Shock flashed in his eyes and he said angrily, It's you. You were the one who attacked me in Cloud Heaven City. You guys worked together to kill Yang-er. Udihai remembered the attack of the Imperial Seal Killing Spirit Eyes. After being attacked by the Imperial Seal Killing Spirit Eyes again, he immediately recognized Mo Qingyun. Hearing Udihai's words, Mo Qingyun's expression was slightly stunned. He did not expect this situation. However, he did not mind and did not have any emotional fluctuations because of this. Since he had already attacked, there was no point in continuing to hide it. I can't believe you saw through me. The corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly and a trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. He said with a faint smile, Since you've seen through me, there's nothing more to say. Die. Heavenly Demon Star-Splitting Palm. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure moved and charged towards Udihai. A monstrous demonic aura rolled out and quickly formed a demon shadow outside Mo Qingyun's body. As soon as the demon god shadow was formed, it waved its huge palm and slashed towards Udihai. You're overestimating yourself. Seeing that Mo Qingyun wanted to fight him head-on, Udihai sneered and his eyes flashed with disdain. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun, who was only at the Tai mysterious immortal realm, wanted to fight him head-on. He was clearly courting death. Udihai's right hand quickly waved a few times. A surge of saint power gathered in his palm and turned into a huge blue palm shadow. Then, Udihai pushed his right palm forward and met the huge palm of the demon god shadow. Boom! When the two palms collided, there was an earth-shattering sound and a terrifying wave of energy rippled out. As soon as the wave of energy rippled out, it was blocked by a huge black palm and crushed towards Udihai. At the same time, the Saint Power Palm shadow that Udihai had blasted out collapsed in an instant. Crack! After a crisp sound, the demon god shadow's huge palm did not slow down and imprinted itself on Udihai's chest. After being hit by the demon god shadow's palm, Udihai's body immediately flew out and fell into the mountain below. Boom! A loud sound was heard, and the dust on top of the mountain immediately surged, engulfing the entire mountain. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry to make a move. He patiently waited for the dust and smoke to dissipate. After a while, Udihai reappeared in his sight. His face was pale and his aura was weak as he fell into a pile of rubble. How is this possible? You're only at the Tai mysterious immortal realm. How can you exert the power of the Saint Realm? Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was slowly flying towards him, Udihai's eyes widened and he looked a little crazy. Chapter 1955. Nothing is impossible. It's just that you are too short-sighted. Mo Qingyun replied indifferently. His face slowly turned cold as he questioned, I'll ask you one last time. Do you want to submit to me or do you want me to send you to accompany Yu Yang? Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Udihai's face immediately turned solemn and he began to look uncertain. As a sage realm expert, submitting to a Tai Xian celestial was too shameful. However, when he saw Gong Pingyang and the seven-headed green dragon, he quickly felt relieved. Gong Pingyang and the seven-headed green dragon were not weaker than him. Since the two of them could submit, why couldn't he submit? Seeing Yudihai's hesitation, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste time with him. His face gradually turned cold and he said, "Supreme Elder Yudihai, since you are unwilling, I can only give you to the seven-headed green dragon as a snack." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he flew towards Yudihai, ready to kill Yudihai right there and then. Anyway, to him, killing Yudihai would not cause him any loss. He would just have one less Sage Realm subordinate in a short period of time. Seeing Mo Qingyun attacking Yudihai, Gong Pingyang and the seven-headed green dragon quickly followed and attacked Yudihai together. I submit." Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was quickly approaching, Yudihai's face immediately turned pale and he pleaded with a terrified expression. He could see that Mo Qingyun was not joking with him. He really intended to kill him. Although he did not dare to do so, Yudihai did not want to die. He had no choice but to submit to Mo Qingyun. After all, it was not easy to cultivate to this level. He could not guarantee that he could reach this level if he recultivated. "Let go of your sea of consciousness." Seeing that Yudihai was willing to submit, Mo Qingyun did not continue to attack him. He ordered coldly. Under Mo Qingyun's order, Yudihai revealed a bitter expression and released his sea of consciousness. "Greetings, Master." Not long after, Yudihai was branded with a soul imprint. He knelt down in front of Mo Qingyun with a terrified expression and said, "Previously, this subordinate was disrespectful to Master. I hope Master can forgive this subordinate and give this subordinate a chance to make up for it. Don't worry. Soon, you'll have a chance to perform." Seeing Yudihai's actions, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile. This old man was very sensible. Just a moment ago, he swore that he wouldn't submit even if he died. Now that he had submitted, he immediately showed his loyalty. "All of you, rest for a while. We'll kill our way into Cloud Sky City later." Mo Qingyun took out a pill and passed it to Yudihai. He said, "This is a profound jade wood virtue saint pill. Refine it and you should be able to recover very quickly. Saint grade medicinal pill." Looking at the pill that Mo Qingyun handed over, Yudihai's expression shook and his eyes flashed with intense shock. Although he was a 9-star immortal alchemist, he didn't know how long it would take him to refine a saint-grade medicinal pill. Not to mention Yudihai, in the entire alchemist temple, there was no one who could refine a saint-grade medicinal pill. Of course, people like the Pill Devil Ancestor and the Holy Tower's old monsters were not included in this list. After passing the pill to Yudihai, Mo Qingyun walked to the side and sat down to recuperate. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was recuperating, Yudihai and the others didn't hesitate and sat down to recuperate. In the blink of an eye, several hours passed. After several hours of recuperation, Mo Qingyun and the others had recovered. Only Yudihai had yet to return to his peak state. However, his injuries were mostly healed and wouldn't affect the upcoming battle. "I'm going to enter the city to investigate. I'll send you to the Fortune mainland first." After instructing Yudihai and the others, Mo Qingyun sent them to the Fortune mainland and flew towards the Sky Cloud City alone. When he arrived outside the Sky Cloud City, Mo Qingyun activated the concealment gate and silently entered the city. After Mo Qingyun entered the Sky Cloud City, he went straight to the Castellan's mansion to continue searching for the 9 Heavens Nirvana Fortune Pills pill formula. After several attempts, Mo Qingyun already knew Roba Tion's residence and the location of Roba Tion's secret treasury. The first place that Mo Qingyun went to was Roba Tion's residence. Coincidentally, Roba Tion wasn't here. When he arrived at Roba Tion's residence, Mo Qingyun didn't stand on ceremony and immediately rummaged through the room. Roba Tion's residence was simple and crude. There was only a bed, a desk, several cabinets, and several stools. Everything could be seen at a glance. It didn't take long for Mo Qingyun to rummage through the room, but he couldn't find the 9 Heavens Nirvana Fortune Pills pill formula. From the looks of it, it's impossible for the pill formula to be here. After rummaging through the cabinets and finding no trace of the pill formula, Mo Qingyun came to a conclusion. Since there was no pill formula here, it was most likely placed in Roba Tian's secret treasury. Of course, he couldn't rule out the possibility that Roba Tian was carrying the pill formula with him. Hopefully, the 9 Heavens Nirvana Fortune Pills pill formula isn't with Roba Tian. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. He no longer hesitated and rushed towards Roba Tian's secret treasury. Roba Tian's secret treasury wasn't far from his residence. Mo Qingyun soon arrived. Mo Qingyun glanced at the secret treasury and found that there were many high-level formations set up outside the treasury. I'm afraid it's impossible for me to break these formations with my current array Dao abilities. After a simple glance at the formations, Mo Qingyun immediately understood. He didn't plan to break the formations bit by bit. That was because it would be a waste of time. Qian Linglong and the others couldn't wait. If I can't understand the formations, I'll have to use brute force. Mo Qingyun thought for a short while and made a decision. He was prepared to break the formations by brute force. Immediately, Mo Qingyun summoned Gong Pingyang, Udihai, and the 7-headed green dragon to his side. Attack with all your might and break this formation with me. After summoning Gong Pingyang and the other 3 to his side, Mo Qingyun instructed them to use the combination gate to increase their battle strength. Everything was ready. Mo Qingyun and the other 3 exchanged glances and attacked Roba Tian's secret treasury together. Boom! A loud sound suddenly came and shook the entire Cloud Heaven City. It was as if the Cloud Heaven City was about to collapse. Under the joint attack of Mo Qingyun and the other 3, a hole was immediately blasted in a corner of the formation. It works. Seeing that a corner of the formation had been blasted open, Mo Qingyun was delighted. He immediately urged Gong Pingyang and the others, "Let's attack faster and break the formation of the secret treasury before Roba Tian and the others arrive." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he, Gong Pingyang, and the others attacked the treasure vault's formation again. Because the commotion caused by Mo Qingyun and the others was too big, it quickly attracted Luo Baishan's attention and drew them over. Chapter 1956. They're fast. Hearing Roba Tian's angry words, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up. His hands did not stop moving as he said, "Don't stop. Continue to attack the array." Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Gong Pingyang and the others did not dare to relax. They continued to attack the array with Mo Qingyun. Very quickly, Mo Qingyun and the others' joint attack once again blasted the secret storehouse's array formation. Boom! After suffering another attack from Mo Qingyun and the others, the hole in the secret storehouse's array formation immediately doubled in size. Mo Qingyun immediately rejoiced when he saw that the hole in the secret storehouse's formation had been torn open. He said, "Based on the current situation, as long as we work together to attack again, the formation will be broken. You're courting death." Seeing that Mo Qingyun and the others ignored him and continued to attack the array, Roba Tian's face turned ugly. Then, he waved his arm forward and took the lead to attack Mo Qingyun and the others. He shouted angrily, "Damn brat, so you're the one who caused trouble last time. I'm going to tear you to pieces." Seeing Udihai and Mo Qingyun together, Roba Tian naturally guessed that Udihai was rescued by Mo Qingyun last time. "City Lord Luo, you always say that, but it seems like you always fail." Mo Qingyun did not take Roba Tian's angry words to heart. He turned to Gong Pingyang and the others and said, "Gong Pingyang, Udihai, you two hold back the 4 of them. 7-headed green serpent, Follow me and continue to attack the array. Yes, master. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Udihai and Gong Pingyang immediately responded and went to meet Roba Tian and the others. Seeing Udihai and Gong Pingyang approach, Roba Tian immediately snorted and said with a disdainful look, "Humph! You want to stop the four of us with just the two of you? You're overestimating yourselves." Combination Gate Seal. While Udihai and Gong Pingyang attacked, Mo Qingyun did not remain idle. He activated the sealing power of the combination gate. Then, a terrifying sealing power blasted into the bodies of Roba Tian and the others. Hit by the sealing power, Roba Tian and the others trembled and could not help but spit out blood. Then, Roba Tian and the others paled and their auras began to weaken. It's this sealing ability again. Luo Batian panicked when he discovered that his soul, cultivation, and blood qi had all been forcefully sealed. At this moment, he could not help but realize that the situation was not good for them. While Luo Batian and the others were in a state of panic, Udihai and Luo Batian charged forward and clashed with the four of them. Go! While Udihai's group of 6 were engaged in a chaotic battle, Mo Qingyun instructed the 7-headed green flood dragon before attacking the secret vault's formation again. Soon, Mo Qingyun and Gong Pingyang's joint attack landed on the secret vault's formation. Although it was not as powerful as the joint attack of the four of them, it still damaged the formation and made it even more incomplete. Go on, don't stop. Mo Qingyun's movements didn't stop after this strike. He bombarded the secret storehouse's formation again. After a while, the secret vault's formation was finally broken under Mo Qingyun and Gong Pingyang's frenzied attacks. When Mo Qingyun broke the formation, Udihai and Gong Pingyang's situation became dangerous. 7-headed green dragon, go help Udihai and Gong Pingyang. You don't have to worry about this. After instructing the 7-headed green dragon, Mo Qingyun moved and entered the secret vault. Mo Qingyun walked into the secret storehouse and saw all kinds of precious treasures neatly arranged on the shelves in the secret storehouse. Mo Qingyun did not care about these things. He began to look for the recipe for the Nirvana elixir of creation. After searching for a while, Mo Qingyun saw a floating scroll on a standalone table. There was a formation around the scroll that seemed to prevent others from getting it. This scroll, could it be the recipe for the Nirvana elixir of creation? Looking at the scroll in front of him, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and tried to guess what it was. While Mo Qingyun was guessing, he vaguely saw the words on the scroll. It said that it was the recipe for the Nirvana elixir of creation. It really is the recipe for the Nirvana elixir of creation. Seeing that he had successfully found the recipe, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed and immediately attacked the formation on the table. A terrifying celestial spiritual energy gathered on Mo Qingyun's palm and turned into a huge palm shadow. Bang! Mo Qingyun's palm slammed onto the array formation and immediately emitted a loud bang, shaking the secret storehouse until it shook. However, the formation on the table did not show any signs of damage. The grade of the formation is too high. I'm afraid I can't break it by force with my strength alone. Mo Qingyun immediately understood when he saw that the array formation hadn't been damaged in the slightest under his full-powered palm strike. It was impossible to break the formation with brute force. However, the grade of the formation was too high. It was also unrealistic for him to understand the formation. What should I do? What should I do? Mo Qingyun was anxious and his mind was spinning quickly. He wanted to get the elixir recipe as soon as possible. He had no choice. The situation of Udihai and the others outside was not very optimistic. He did not know how long they could last. That's right. Although I can't break the formation now, I can slowly break it later. While Mo Qingyun was pondering, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration and thought of a way to solve this problem. Then, Mo Qingyun's face revealed a mischievous smile. He quickly formed a series of hand seals and said, since it's like this, then don't blame me. I was also forced into a corner. Soon, mysterious hand seals were formed one after another from Mo Qingyun's hands. These hand seals flew out from his hands and landed in every corner of the secret vault, emitting a dazzling light. Rise. Mo Qingyun raised his arms and a terrifying celestial spiritual energy burst out from his palms. Under the support of this celestial spiritual energy, the entire secret vault was uprooted. The formation stabilizing it also collapsed in an instant. Collect. After destroying the small formation stabilizing the secret vault, Mo Qingyun put the secret vault into the Fortune mainland. A bright smile appeared on his face as he said, "Roba Tian is really polite. I wanted to leave something for him, but he insisted that I take everything." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. His figure flickered and he appeared beside Yudi Hai and the others. When Mo Qingyun left the secret vault, Roba Tian also discovered the situation in the secret vault. His old face twitched in anger as he said, You took my secret vault away?" Hearing Roba Tian's words, Yudi Hai and the others' faces twitched. They could not help but sympathize with Roba Tian. Mo Qingyun's move was too ruthless, directly cutting off his escape route. It's troublesome to take everything one by one. It's easier to take them all back. Mo Qingyun smiled and shrugged as if this was a normal conversation. He was not worried about Roba Tian's anger at all. Chapter 1957. Saint Demon's Star-Shattering Fist. Facing Roba Tian's attack, Mo Qingyun did not flinch at all. He met it fearlessly. Mo Qingyun clenched his fist, and a threatening demonic aura erupted from his body. Soon, a demon god shadow, dozens of feet tall, formed outside Mo Qingyun's body. When the demon god shadow formed outside Mo Qingyun's body, a powerful bloodline power was activated without reservation. Bloodline power, Master is a divine. Did you just find out? Master's bloodline is not simple. Divine. Divine, this kid is a divine. Isn't he the disciple of the Pill Demon Patriarch? This kid hid it so well. Even the Pill Demon Patriarch was fooled. Sensing Mo Qingyun's bloodline power, everyone's expression changed drastically. They were shocked by the situation. Because Mo Qingyun was the Pill Demon's disciple, no one had ever thought that Mo Qingyun would have the bloodline of a divine. In their opinion, if Mo Qingyun was a divine, he would not have escaped the Pill Demon Patriarch's eyes. In fact, the situation was indeed like this. The Pill Devil did see through Mo Qingyun's bloodline, but he did not pay attention to it. Kid, even if you are a divine genius, you are still too young to fight me head-on. Seeing Mo Qingyun advancing instead of retreating, Roba Tian immediately roared and slapped at Mo Qingyun. Now that your secret has been exposed, even if I can't kill you today, you won't be able to move an inch in the immortal desolate domain. Ha! Luo Batian struck out with his palm, and a terrifying Gung Jin energy gathered on his right palm. Golden Saint power gathered in Roba Tian's palm and turned into a giant eagle claw, grabbing at Mo Qingyun's fist. Boom! The demon god Shadow's fist landed on the golden eagle claw, and there was a loud bang. The two were in a stalemate in the air. Seeing this, Luo Batian couldn't help but be shocked, his eyes flashing with disbelief. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation at the Grand Unity Mysterious Immortal Realm, Mo Qingyun was actually able to block his full-strength attack. Compared to Roba Tian's shock, Yudi Hai was calm. He had been injured in this way before. Crack, while Roba Tian was still in shock, a crisp cracking sound suddenly came from in front of him. Then, he realized that the golden holy power eagle claw was collapsing from the inside, turning into a cloud of holy power airflow. Seeing this scene, Roba Tian's eyes narrowed his eyes. His mind went blank for a moment. Not only was his all-out attack blocked by Mo Qingyun, but it was also forcefully defeated by Mo Qingyun. Boom! While Roba Tian was still in shock, the demon god Shadow's giant fist landed on his chest. Hit by the demon god Shadow's attack, Robotion was immediately sent flying and fell into the ground. City Lord. Seeing Robotion's miserable state, Reverend Shursui and the others panicked and immediately flew to Robotion's side. Then, Robotion climbed out of the pit with the help of Reverend Shursui and the others. Who the hell are you? Robotion climbed out of the pit with a cold expression. His eyes were fixed on Emo Qinyun. In his opinion, if Emo Qinyun did not have any other identity, it was impossible for him to have such combat strength. When Robotion said this, Reverend Shursui and the others looked at Emo Qinyun in a different light. They had clashed with Emo Qinyun many times, and they could see Emo Qinyun's growth every time. I am me. What other identity can I have? In response to Luo Baishan's question, Emo Qinyun shrugged indifferently and said coldly, Also, I'll tell you clearly that since I dared to reveal the power of my bloodline, I must have the confidence to seal the news. None of you will be able to leave today. Hearing Emo Qinyun's words, the expressions of Robotion and the others immediately tensed up. They felt that Emo Qinyun was not joking with them. With Emo Qinyun's personality, he wouldn't do this if he wasn't completely confident. Attack, don't let a single one go. Emo Qinyun's figure flashed and charged at Robotion again. He wanted to finish off Robotion first. Hearing Emo Qinyun's order, Udihai and the others did not hesitate and immediately charged at Reverend Shursui and the others. Soon, Emo Qinyun arrived in front of Robotion and attacked Robotion. He was using the combination gate now. Although he borrowed the power of Udihai and the others, allowing him to temporarily possess the combat strength of a saint. However, borrowing their power for a long time would cause them to run out of saint power, and they would not be able to fight for a long time. Therefore, he had to finish off Robotion and the others before the three ran out of saint power. Demonic star-splitting palm. Emo Qinyun arrived in front of Robotion and blasted out with his palm, gathering powerful immortal spiritual energy in his palm. Soon, a demon shadow several feet tall formed outside Emo Qinyun's body and blasted at Robotion with his palm. Gold-edged sky-splitting axe. Faced with Emo Qinyun's palm, Robotion did not dare to hesitate and quickly waved his hands. As Robotion waved his arms, a terrifying surge of Gingjin saint power quickly gathered in his palms. Then, Robotion put his palms together and condensed the Gingjin saint power into a giant golden axe. As soon as the giant golden axe was formed, Robotion swung it forward and domineeringly fell on Emo Qinyun's head. Faced with Robotion's axe, Emo Qinyun did not dare to be careless. He immediately switched from offense to defense and raised his hand to block the giant golden axe. Bang! Emo Qinyun's palm collided with the giant axe and blocked it. A shield of energy formed between his palms. Under the energy shield, the energy waves were all blocked and could not get close to Emo Qinyun. Reverend Shursui is in danger under Gong Pingyang's attack. When Emo Qinyun blocked Robotion's attack, he noticed Reverend Shursui's situation and a smirk appeared on his face. If that's the case, I'll be a good person and send you on your way. Heavenly sun-piercing star pupil. A crimson flame shot out from Emo Qinyun's left eye and instantly pierced through the air toward Reverend Shursui. Reverend Shursui was already powerless under Emo Qinyun's attack, so naturally, she did not notice Emo Qinyun's attack. Under the blazing light of the eye power, Reverend Shursui's head was instantly pierced and even her consciousness was shattered. Reverend Shursui's consciousness was severely damaged and her consciousness was rapidly weakened. Her reaction became even slower. Die. Seeing Reverend Shursui's reaction, Gong Pingyang's face immediately darkened and he raised his hand to attack Reverend Shursui. Before Reverend Shursui could react, Gong Pingyang's palm domineeringly hit her head and directly blew it apart. Reverend Shursui is dead. Seeing Reverend Shursui's state, Roba Tion's expression on his Pegasus trembled and his face turned pale. Chapter 1958. Soul Summoning Gate. Seeing that Reverend Sable had been killed, Mo Qingyun immediately used the Soul Summoning Gate to summon Sable's remnant soul. A portal of light in the shape of a reincarnation vortex quickly formed near Mo Qingyun and madly sucked in the remnant souls around it. Soon, a powerful ghost with an aura comparable to that of a saint walked out of the Soul Summoning Gate. A saint realm ghost. Sensing the aura within the Soul Summoning Gate, Roba Tion's old face immediately trembled and turned even paler. They were already at a disadvantage in the previous battle. Reverend Sable's death made their situation even more worrisome. Mo Qingyun could still summon a saint realm ghost. This way, they were even more powerless to resist and would only end up being slaughtered. Kill! Mo Qingyun summoned the ghost and ordered it to assist Gong Pingyang and the others. After giving the order, Mo Qingyun flew towards Roba Tion, ready to finish off Roba Tion. Demonic star-splitting palm. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and turned into a black streak of light, slamming his palm towards Roba Tion. As Mo Qingyun descended from the sky, a huge demon god shadow quickly formed around his body. Then, the demon god shadow blasted out with a palm, covering the light above Roba Tion. Looking at the approaching giant palm, Roba Tion's expression became sluggish and his entire body went limp on the ground. At this moment, Roba Tion even gave up resisting and allowed the giant palm to come crashing down on him. He knew that in his current state, even if he resisted, it would be useless. Seeing Roba Tion's performance, Mo Qingyun didn't show any mercy and didn't slow down his attacks at all. Boom! With a loud sound, a dust storm rose from the ground and swallowed Mo Qingyun and Gong Pingyang. Following the loud noise, the two consecrators were also blasted into the ground by Gong Pingyang and Gong Fengwu. Bam bam bam! When the two reverends fell to the ground, their bodies slid back several hundred meters and crashed into rows of buildings. As the two consecrators glided backwards, Mo Qingyun flew out of the sandstorm and arrived beside Gong Pingyang and Li Qie. Then, Mo Qingyun and the others coldly looked at the ground and waited for the dust storm to dissipate bit by bit. After a while, the dust storm receded and Roba Tion's figures appeared. At this moment, Luo Baishan's clothes were in tatters, and his aura was weak as he lay on the ground, looking half dead. As for the other two reverends, although they were better than Roba Tion, they didn't have the strength to fight. Mo Qingyun glanced at the two consecrators and frowned slightly. He said coldly, "Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. As long as the two of you are willing to submit to me, I can spare your lives." In Mo Qingyun's opinion, it was a good thing to have two more Saint Realm fighters by his side. When the two reverends heard Mo Qingyun's words, they immediately showed despair and looked at Roba Tion with fear. Mo Qingyun's expression couldn't help but change when he saw the two's actions. Confusion appeared on his face. While Mo Qingyun was puzzled, Roba Tion laughed proudly and said, "Kid, if you want to subdue the two of them, keep dreaming. I've already branded their souls. If I'm killed by you, the two of them will die with me. So that's how it is." Hearing Roba Tion's words, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but understand why the two of them were in despair. Luo Batian had actually placed a soul imprint on the two of them. This old geezer really had some tricks up his sleeve. Knowing this, Mo Qingyun immediately knew what to do. His face became even colder as he said, "It's just a soul brand. As long as the soul brand is removed, the two of them will naturally be fine." Remove the soul brand? Kid, are you capable of that? Hearing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Roba Tion sneered and said with disdain, "I don't mind telling you that even the pill demon ancestor won't be able to remove their soul brands." Roba Tion looked like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water. He wanted to see what Mo Qingyun could do to him. In his opinion, if Mo Qingyun wanted to save the two reverends' lives, he couldn't hurt him at all. Seeing Robotion's reaction, Mo Qingyun immediately guessed his thoughts, and the mockery on his face deepened. Demonic eye seizes the soul. Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed coldly, and a terrifying wave of soul power blasted out, turning into a huge black eyeball. The eyeball formed in the air, and released a powerful tearing force, forcibly pulling Robotion's soul out of his body. This is the bloodline ability of the celestial soul demons. So you're a celestial soul demon. Robotion immediately screamed after being attacked by the demonic eye seizes the soul. His voice was filled with panic. At this moment, he was truly afraid. He had some understanding of the celestial soul demons and knew how terrifying this ability was. It specialized in controlling the souls of others. Moreover, under the gaze of Mo Qingyun's demonic eye, he was actually slowly losing control of his soul. This situation was simply too terrifying for them. At this rate, Mo Qingyun would soon be able to control his soul and remove the soul brands on the two reverends. Don't even think about removing their soul brands. Guessing Mo Qingyun's intentions, Robotion immediately roared and resisted Mo Qingyun's control of his soul. Under Robotion's resistance, the huge demonic eye in the air trembled slightly. With Robotion's cultivation at the Sky Saint stage, it was still very difficult for Mo Qingyun to control his soul. Gong Pingyang Yudihai, the two of you act immediately and suppress his soul for me. Sensing Luobation's soul resistance, Mo Qingyun didn't dare hesitate in the slightest. He immediately ordered Dahai and Luobation. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, the two of them released their soul power and suppressed Robotion's soul. Under the suppression of Yudihai and Gong Pingyang, Robotion's resistance slowly weakened. Robotion no longer resisted, and Mo Qingyun regained control of his soul and removed the soul brands on the two reverends. Remove. With a thought, Mo Qingyun took control of Luobation's soul and removed the soul imprints on the two consecrators. As their soul brands were removed, the two reverends were immediately overjoyed and excited smiles appeared on their faces. Mo Qingyun had actually succeeded. This way, the two of them would not have to die with Robotion. Seven-headed green serpent, I'll leave this guy to you. After removing the soul brands on the two reverends, Mo Qingyun instructed the seven-headed green serpent and turned to look at the two reverends. Seeing Mo Qingyun looking at them, the two reverends immediately understood what Mo Qingyun wanted to do. Although their lives were saved, their soul brands would still be planted. From now on, their fates would be in Mo Qingyun's hands. Chapter 1959. One fan greets Master. Xiang Song greets Master. Understanding Mo Qingyun's intention, the two consecrators immediately knelt down and opened up their consciousness. Seeing the two consecrators' actions, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile and planted a soul brand on the two of them. When the two consecrators were planted with the soul brand, Robotion was also swallowed by the seven-headed green serpent and his soul was destroyed. Following the death of Robotion, a saint-level aura emanated from the spirit summoning gate. This was Robotion's remnant soul. After being sucked into the spirit summoning gate, it was also transformed into a ghost. Let's go. Seeing that everything had been settled, Mo Qingyun left some instructions to the others and flew out of Cloud Sky City. Now that he only lacked Xuanwu's blood to refine the 9-day Nirvana creation elixir, it was time for him to head to the Xuanwu mystery realm. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Gong Pingyang and the others hurriedly followed and left Cloud Sky City together. After Mo Qingyun and the others left for a while, the citizens of Cloud Sky City finally dared to slowly approach the City Lord's mansion. The battle earlier was too terrifying. Even though they were standing far away, they were still shaken to the core. When everyone approached the City Lord's mansion, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived outside the city and stopped moving forward. Mo Qingyun stopped and took out the map of the Xuanwu mystery realm. He placed it in front of everyone and asked, "Which of you can recognize this place on the map?" "Master, this is the map of the sky-devouring ice river. Rumor has it that it's the origin of the merfolk." Looking at the map of the Xuanwu mystery realm, Gong Pingyang's expression immediately changed as he recognized the location. Hearing Gong Pingyang's words, Emo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat and his heart sank. He had heard from King Devourer that the ancestral land of the merfolk was occupied by the Dark Demon tribe. It was because of this that the Dark Demon race planted the powerful bloodline of the merfolk, allowing them to smoothly rise in the wild continent. If Emo Qingyun went to the sky-devouring ice river, it would be tantamount to entering the Dark Demon race's main camp. It had to be said that this trip was extremely dangerous. If they were not careful, they might not be able to return. Even though he had many Saint Stage experts under him, they were still insignificant compared to the Dark Demon tribe. Since that's the case, Gong Pingyang, you stay behind. Everyone else, enter the Fortune mainland. Seeing that Gong Pingyang had recognized the heaven-devouring ice river, Emo Qingyun instructed him to send the others to the Fortune mainland. After sending everyone to the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun took out the flying boat and had Gong Pingyang drive it. Gong Pingyang was a Saint Realm powerhouse. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to have any ideas about him driving the flying boat. Most importantly, with Emo Qingyun's current combat strength, he was not afraid of being robbed. As long as Emo Qingyun didn't encounter an existence on the level of the Pill Devil, he had no problem protecting himself. After everything was settled, Emo Qingyun sent Gong Pingyang to the Fortune mainland, while he entered the Fortune mainland. After entering the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun first went to Qian Linglong's residence to check on the other women's condition. Their breathing was still weak, and they were lying on the bed with peaceful expressions on their faces. "Soon, I will be able to gather all the ingredients and refine the 9 days Nirvana creation pill to wake you up from your slumber." Looking at Qian Linglong and the other women in front of him, Emo Qingyun's expression was solemn, and his tone was firm. Emo Qingyun muttered to himself, then left Qian Linglong's residence and headed to the Fortune Immortal Palace to look for Gu Yang and the others. When Emo Qingyun headed to the Immortal Palace of Fortune, Gong Pingyang and the others followed him to the Immortal Palace of Fortune. The appearance of Emo Qingyun's group immediately attracted the attention of Gu Yang and the others, and a look of shock appeared on their faces. The arrival of several Saint Realm experts' auras was a terrifying thing for them. "Qingyun, could they?" Looking at Gong Pingyang and the others in front of him, Gu Yang panicked, thinking that Emo Qingyun had been captured. In his opinion, if Emo Qingyun hadn't been captured, why would Gong Pingyang and the others be here? Looking at Gu Yang's expression, Emo Qingyun could guess what he was thinking. He smiled faintly and said, "Martial uncle, don't worry, they have turned over a new leaf and are wholeheartedly assisting me." "They are helping you now?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Gu Yang was at a loss, and he felt that his brain wasn't enough to process it. Gong Pingyang and the others were all true Saint Realm experts. How could they easily submit to Emo Qingyun? From now on, they would wholeheartedly work for Mo Qingyun. Looking at Gu Yang's expression, Reverend Wen Fan smiled faintly and gave Gu Yang a comforting look. He said, "Reverend Gu Yang, Roba Tian has already been killed by Master. Master has given us a chance to turn over a new leaf, so of course we will turn over a new leaf. Roba Tian is already dead." Hearing Wen Fan's words, Gu Yang's eyes widened and his body trembled. The shock that Emo Qingyun's arrival brought to him this time was a little too intense. Based on the current situation, Emo Qingyun's true battle strength was comparable to some second-rate factions. Looking at the shocked Gu Yang, Reverend Xiang Song smiled and said, "Reverend Gu Yang, seeing that we are acquaintances, if we do something wrong in the future, I hope that you can give us a few pointers." Hearing Xiang Song's words, Wen Fan also echoed in an attempt to curry favor with Gu Yang. In their view, Gu Yang was Emo Qingyun's martial uncle, so it was necessary to build a good relationship with Gu Yang. Gu Yang didn't pay attention to Xiang's song and Wenfan's flattery, and only nodded politely. After everyone exchanged pleasantries, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately asked Gu Yang, "Martial uncle, how is the construction of the immortal palace of fortune? Do you need me to send more people to help?" "It's almost finished, and the alchemy division has been arranged properly." Hearing Mo Qingyun's inquiry, Gu Yang immediately reported. His gaze swept over Gong Pingyang and the others. "Qingyun, since you want to establish a faction, just alchemy disciples won't be enough. You must also have immortal cultivators as the pillars of the faction." "Indeed." Hearing Gu Yang's suggestion, Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement. He felt that Gu Yang's suggestion was good. At that time, his initial plan was to train Qin Yun Valley's disciples to refine pills, and then slowly train their disciples to cultivate. But now, it seemed that his opportunity had to be brought forward, and he could start training immortal cultivators now. Seeing Mo Qingyun nod in agreement, Gu Yang no longer had any misgivings and continued to explain his idea. "Now that you have a lot of Saint Realm experts by your side, if you let them guide your disciples, their cultivation speed will definitely be very fast. Martial uncle, it seems that you have already thought about it for me." After hearing Gu Yang's words, Mo Qingyun smiled and teased Gu Yang. Chapter 1960. Udihai, you were once the supreme elder of the alchemist temple. You are very proficient in alchemy. Looking at Udihai in front of him, Mo Qingyun evaluated his ability and began to appoint him. "From now on, you and Uncle Master Gu Yang will manage the alchemy hall. As you can't stay in the alchemy hall all the time, you will be the deputy hall master." "Yes, master." Hearing Mo Qingyun's appointment, Udihai immediately responded without the slightest dissatisfaction or resistance. He could tell that Mo Qingyun letting him manage the alchemy hall was just a side task. Mo Qingyun's true thoughts were that he had other orders for him. After Dihai's appointment was completed, Mo Qingyun turned to look at the seven-headed green dragon and thought about how to arrange it. "Seven-headed green dragon, your cultivation method is very suitable for some of my former subordinates. In the future, you will guide their cultivation." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he summoned Qilian and the others and asked them to follow the seven-headed green dragon to cultivate in the future. "Greetings, master." After a while, Qilian and the others arrived and stood respectfully in front of Mo Qingyun. Now, Qilian and the others' cultivation had basically reached the golden immortal stage. However, due to the limitations of their cultivation methods and talent, after they reached the golden immortal stage, their cultivation speed slowed down significantly. When Qilian and the others arrived, he also summoned the King Devourer and classified her as Qilian and the others. Looking at Qilian and the others in front of him, Mo Qingyun did not waste any more time and immediately appointed the seven-headed green dragon and the others. "Because the cultivation methods you cultivate are all through devouring the essence and blood of others to improve your cultivation and realm, you will be the Heaven Devourer Hall in the future. The seven-headed green dragon will be the Hall Master, and the King Devourer and Qilian will be the Deputy Hall Masters." "Yes, Master." Hearing Mo Qingyun's appointment, the seven-headed green dragon and the others nodded in response and walked to the side. After appointing Qilian and the others, Mo Qingyun thought of Gong Pingyang and summoned him to the immortal palace of creation. Gong Pingyang was a Saint Realm expert, and he was very good at soul cultivation, so he could guide disciples in soul cultivation. After calling Gong Pingyang over, Mo Qingyun looked at him with a serious expression. He frowned slightly and said, "Gong Pingyang, you are good at cultivating the soul. In the future, you will be the Hall Master of the Soul Hall. You will be in charge of all the matters of the Soul Hall." "Thank you for your trust, Master." This old servant will not let you down. Gong Pingyang responded. He walked to the side and waited for Mo Qingyun to appoint the others. Wen Fan, you used to be the law enforcement consecrator of the Cloud Heaven City. You will be the law enforcement hall master of the immortal palace of fortune. Mo Qingyun glanced at Wen Fan and recalled his position in Cloud Heaven City. He immediately confirmed his position. Hearing Mo Qingyun's appointment, Wen Fan was immediately overjoyed and hurriedly thanked Mo Qingyun. Thank you, master, for trusting this subordinate. This subordinate will enforce the law impartially and will not show any favoritism. In Wen Fan's opinion, the law enforcement was the key to a force. It had always been done by trusted subordinate. Originally, he had thought that Gu Yang would be the one to take up the role. He had not expected Mo Qingyun to appoint him. This action of Mo Qingyun's truly moved him to the extreme. It could be seen that Mo Qingyun treated everyone equally. Seeing that Wen Fan had been appointed, Xiang Song's expression became clearly nervous. He looked at Mo Qingyun expectantly. Under Xiang Song's gaze, Mo Qingyun looked at him and said in a low voice, Xiang Song, you are good at using poison. In the future, you will be the hall master of the poison hall. You will guide the disciples in using poison to attack and develop antidotes for various poisons. Yes, master, this subordinate will not let you down. Hearing Mo Qingyun's appointment, Xiang Song was immediately overjoyed. He immediately promised Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction at Xiang Song's performance. He turned to look at Huang Feng and said, Old Huang Feng, you are also a reincarnated Saint Realm expert. I will give you a special mission. You will be the hall master of the Ghost Hall. You will be in charge of controlling the ghosts in battle and finding a way to stabilize their cultivation. The ghosts' cultivation was constantly slipping. This had always been a headache for Mo Qingyun. He had not found a way to solve this problem. If he could prevent the ghost's cultivation from slipping, it would be of great significance to his overall combat strength. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Huang Feng's expression immediately trembled. His heartbeat quickened. He had followed Mo Qingyun for a long time. He was well aware of how powerful the ghosts under Mo Qingyun's control were. In this way, he would be the one with the strongest battle strength among the halls. Mo Qingyun's expression became a little solemn as he looked at the excited old ghost Huang Feng. He spoke in a deep voice. The other few halls have Xing stage experts overseeing them. I hope that your cultivation will be able to recover to the Xing stage as soon as possible. Yes, this subordinate will do his best to cultivate and return to the Saint Realm as soon as possible. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Huang Feng immediately nodded and solemnly promised Mo Qingyun. Seeing Huang Feng's attitude, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction. He glanced at everyone and said, In that case, the immortal Palace of Fortune will be temporarily divided into 5 halls. They are the Alchemy Hall, Poison Hall, Ghost Hall, Discipline Hall, and Heaven Devourer Hall. They will be collectively known as the 5 Saint Halls. Martial Uncle, here are some cultivation resources. Distribute them to each hall in a moment. After appointing everyone, Mo Qingyun took out some cultivation resources and handed them to Gu Yang. When Gu Yang received the cultivation resources from Mo Qingyun, he immediately nodded and said that he would distribute them later. Since that's the case, everyone is dismissed. Seeing that everything was settled, Mo Qingyun waved his hand at everyone and turned to walk into the immortal Palace of Fortune. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, everyone dispersed and settled down in their respective halls. As for Gong Pingyang, he also left the Fortune mainland and continued on his journey. After Mo Qingyun entered the immortal Palace of Fortune, he went to the palace master's residence and began to cultivate. In the following days, Mo Qingyun remained in the immortal Palace of Fortune, cultivating and dealing with trivial matters. During this time, Mo Qingyun would also make a trip to Qingyun Valley to accompany Yi Wuo and the others. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Master, we have arrived at the dark, desolate region. On this day, when Mo Qingyun was cultivating, Gong Pingyang sent him a soul transmission. Hearing Gong Pingyang's soul transmission, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly and he withdrew from his cultivation. When Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation, he sensed his cultivation and looked at his recent cultivation gains. After sensing his cultivation, Mo Qingyun discovered that he had already reached the peak of the Tao comprehending stage. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't focus on cultivating, he would have already broken through to the pregnant Tao realm. Forget it, since I've arrived at the dark desolate region, I'll head to the Xuanwu secret realm first. Mo Qingyun thought silently. He wasn't in a hurry to break through to the dark desolate region. He decided to find Xuanwu's blood first. Chapter 1961. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared beside Gong Pingyang. He looked at the endless mountains ahead. Between the tall mountains, there was a vast river that looked like a huge dragon that stretched across the land. Continue leading the way. Mo Qingyun looked ahead and ordered Gong Pingyang to continue leading the way. After entering the dark wasteland domain, Mo Qingyun did not want to attract too much attention, so he kept the Divine Boat Clan's flying boat. Although the Dark Demon tribe did not dare to appear in the dark wasteland domain, their hidden strength was not to be underestimated. If the Dark Demon tribe targeted him because of the Divine Boat Clan's flying boat, it would be a headache for him. Not only would he not be able to obtain Xuanwu's blood, but the Dark Demon tribe might also know that he was still alive. Master, the Dark Wasteland Domain is different from the Divine Wasteland Domain and the Immortal Wasteland Domain. The relationship between the factions here is complicated. We must be very careful, Gong Pingyang reminded Mo Qingyun as he led the way with a solemn expression. Since the Immortal Tribe and the Divine Tribe joined forces to defeat the Dark Demon Tribe, the Immortal Tribe and the Divine Tribe coexist in the Dark Wasteland Domain. There are constant conflicts between them. As I am an immortal, you must not reveal the power of your bloodline. Okay, I understand. After listening to Gong Pingyang's explanation, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. He knew what Gong Pingyang meant. In the dark wasteland domain, no matter which side you were on, there would always be an enemy. In order to make things easier for Gong Pingyang, it was better for Mo Qingyun to remain as an immortal. Next, Gong Pingyang led Mo Qingyun to the Xuanwu Mystery Land. About half a day later, Gong Pingyang arrived in front of a huge ancient city and stopped moving forward. Master, we have passed through Xuanwu City. After another 10,000 miles, we will reach the sky-devouring ice river. Standing in front of this huge ancient city, Gong Pingyang pointed at it and reported his whereabouts to Mo Qingyun. Upon hearing Gong Pingyang's words, Mo Qingyun lifted his head to look at Gu Qing and instructed, "Let's rest in Xuanwu City first and ask about the heaven-devouring ice river. It won't be too late to continue on our way." Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Gong Pingyang immediately nodded and rushed towards Xuanwu City. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and Huang Xiaolong arrived at Xuanwu City. They saw a mix of crooks and honest folk. Just as Gong Pingyang had said, the immortal race and the god race coexisted in the dark wasteland domain. In Xuanwu City, the immortals and divines coexisted, maintaining a balance between each other. However, Mo Qingyun knew very well that this balance was very unstable. The slightest conflict would be completely triggered. Because Mo Qingyun and Huang Xiaolong were immortals, they were immediately treated with hostility by the divines as soon as they entered the city. Numerous gazes filled with hostility were directed at the two of them. Surges of auras were also pressing down on them. Seeing this situation, Mo Qingyun and Gong Pingyang looked at each other and ignored them. Both of you, is this your first time in Xuanwu City? As Mo Qingyun and Huang Xiaolong walked forward, a short, dark-skinned, fat youth greeted them with a smile. Hearing this youth's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and did not try to hide it. Both of you, Xuanwu City has a mix of crooks and honest folk. There are many ways and there are many unknown taboos. You must be careful when dealing with them. When he heard Mo Qingyun and Huang Xiaolong's reply, the youth's expression turned solemn. With a mysterious expression, he said, I don't mind telling you a secret. Many people who come to Xuanwu City for the first time don't know the rules here and unwittingly get into big trouble and lose their lives here. So serious. When he heard this, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He knew that the youth was exaggerating. His purpose in saying this was nothing more than to intimidate them so that they would accept his guidance and he could reap some benefits from it. Mo Qingyun did not care about this person's intentions. He really did need a guide. How much do you want us to pay to guide us through the city? Since he understood this person's thoughts, Mo Qingyun didn't beat around the bush and directly asked him about it. 100 supreme-grade immortal spirit stones. When he heard Mo Qingyun's question, the youth smiled awkwardly and raised a finger. When he heard the youth's price, Gong Pingyang's expression darkened. He released his saint aura to suppress the youth. He shouted, Boy, I advise you to keep your eyes open. Don't get yourself into big trouble because of your greed. Under the pressure of Gong Pingyang's aura, the youth immediately trembled. His eyes were filled with intense fear. A person with a Saint Realm follower was not someone he could easily provoke, let alone rip off. 1 supreme-grade immortal spirit stone is enough. I misspoke just now. After understanding the stakes, the youth immediately changed his words and reduced the price by 100 times. When he saw this, Gong Pingyang's expression improved. He withdrew his saint aura. As Gong Pingyang withdrew his saint aura, the youth's expression immediately relaxed. His expression improved a little. Here are 10 supreme-grade immortal spirit stones. Consider it your payment, but you have to answer some of my questions. Mo Qingyun took out 10 supreme-grade immortal spirit stones and threw them into the youth's hand. He stated his additional request. 10 supreme-grade immortal spirit stones. Seeing the immortal spirit stones thrown by Mo Qingyun, the youth's expression immediately brightened. He immediately patted his chest and said to Mo Qingyun, Sir, I don't dare to say anything else, but when it comes to gathering information, no one in Xuanwu City is as well informed as I, Black Loach. That's good. Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction, but he didn't completely believe him. He nodded to Black Loach and said, Take us to a restaurant first, then I'll slowly ask you. If your answers satisfy me, I'll give you another reward. Sir, please come with me. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Black Loach's eyes immediately lit up. He became even more excited. Subsequently, Black Loach led the way to a restaurant that was shaped like a dragon scale turtle shell. He said, Young master, the Dragon Turtle Restaurant is the largest restaurant in Black Tortoise City. Other than the best accommodations, they also have a unique Dragon Turtle Divine Brew. Only 10 jars are sold every day. Young master, you must try it if you have the chance. Dragon Turtle Brew sounds good. I hope I'll have the luck to try it. Mo Qingyun silently noted Black Loach's words, but didn't take it to heart. However, although he occasionally tasted wine, he wasn't addicted to it yet. Not long after, under Black Loach's guidance, Mo Qingyun booked a suite. Chapter 1962. You should know about the sky-devouring ice river, right? Mo Qingyun did not waste any more time in his room and immediately asked Black Loach. I know. Black Loach's expression tensed up at Mo Qingyun's inquiry, and he revealed some worry. Young master, are you going to the sky-devouring ice river? That's right. Imo-Chinyan nodded and sat down on a chair. Tell me some information about the sky-devouring ice river. Black Loach immediately replied to Imo-Chinyan's continued inquiry. Young master, the sky-devouring ice river has not been peaceful recently. I advise you not to go there, lest you accidentally get into big trouble. Oh! Imo-Chinyan was immediately moved by Black Loach's words. A strong sense of curiosity rose in his heart. Why do you say that? What's going on at the sky-devouring ice river recently? Tell me everything you know in detail. Yes. Black Loach nodded respectfully and began to report the information he had gathered to Imo-Chinyan. Not long ago, there was a rumor that a large group of Saint Realm experts appeared near the sky-devouring ice river. They created a force called the Madman League and frantically wiped out the surrounding forces. Those who did not submit to them were all annihilated. Madman League. Imo-Chinyan's eyes narrowed slightly, and he became more interested in the Mad Immortal Alliance. He asked, Did you inquire about the origins of those Saint Realm Masters from your master? No. Black Loach shook his head, and his expression became more dignified. Their origins are very mysterious, as if they appeared out of thin air overnight. Some people suspected that they were from the Dark Demon Clan, but it was later confirmed that they were not from the Dark Demon Clan. Hearing Black Loach's words, Imo-Chinyan frowned slightly. He was even more curious about the Madman League. If they are not from the Dark Demon Clan, could they be from there? At this moment, Imo-Chinyan began to guess the origins of the people from the Madman League. If Imo-Chinyan's guess was correct, these people might have escaped from the immortal prison just like old devil Huang Feng. Only the people imprisoned in the immortal prison would be so powerful that no one could find any information about them. While Imo-Chinyan was thinking, Black Loach frowned and whispered to Imo-Chinyan, Gongzi, I think those people in the Madman League may be demons from the Prison Wasteland domain. You'd better not provoke them. Prison Wasteland domain? Imo-Chinyan's expression changed slightly. He was curious about the Prison Wasteland realm. Could it be that it has some connection with the immortal prison? After listening to Black Loach's explanation, Imo-Chinyan had a preliminary understanding of the situation in the sky-devouring glacier. He thought to himself, it seems that if I want to enter the Xuanwu secret realm, I must directly or indirectly confront the Madman League. After thinking this through, Imo-Chinyan felt relieved in his heart. It was useless to think too much now. When the time comes, he would just have to deal with it. After that, Imo-Chinyan asked Black Loach a few more questions before he let Black Loach leave. Before Black Loach left, he reminded Imo-Chinyan that the auction for the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew was about to start. After hearing Black Loach's reminder, Imo-Chinyan left the room and planned to bid for some Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew. As soon as Imo-Chinyan walked out of the room, he saw a group of people rushing to a high platform. The auction for the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew has started. Let's hurry over. I missed the last few times. This time, I must get the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew. I heard that a lot of mysterious people have come this time. The competition for the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew will probably be even more intense. While those people were running, he was still talking excitedly. The auction for the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew has started? After hearing those people's words, Imo-Chinyan pursed his lips and followed everyone to the high platform. After arriving at the high platform, Imo-Chinyan found an empty seat and sat down unhurriedly. Before long, under the expectant gazes of the crowd, an old man with white eyebrows walked up to the high platform with a wine jar. The auction for today's first jar of Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew will now officially begin. The old man with white eyebrows walked to the front of the auction stage and didn't waste any time. He immediately started the auction. The starting bid is 10,000 Supreme Grade Immortal Spirit Stones. Each bid must be at least 1,000 Supreme Grade Immortal Spirit Stones. I bid 11,000 Supreme Grade Immortal Spirit Stones. I bid 20,000 supreme-grade immortal spirit stones. I bid 50,000. I bid 100,000. As soon as the old man finished speaking, everyone seemed to go crazy and scrambled to be the first to bid. It seems that I underestimated the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew's attractiveness. In this case, I'm afraid that I won't have enough immortal spirit stones. Seeing everyone's frenzied actions, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and some misgivings arose in his heart. At the same time, Mo Qingyun's curiosity about the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew grew even more intense. With that thought, Mo Qingyun stood up from his seat and asked the old man with white eyebrows in front of the auction stage, "Senior, I don't have too many immortal spirit stones on me. Can I use medicinal crystals instead of immortal spirit stones?" Medicinal crystals. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the old man with white eyebrows was shocked and revealed an expectant gaze. "Young master, can you let me take a look at your medicinal crystals? If they are not bad, they can be used instead of immortal spirit stones." Hearing this, Mo Qingyun took out a medicinal crystal and tossed it to the old man with white eyebrows. Looking at the medicinal crystal that Mo Qingyun tossed to him, the old man with white eyebrows immediately raised his hand and caught it. Then, he carefully observed the medicinal crystal. The more he looked at it, the more excited he became, as if he had obtained a peerless treasure. Medicinal crystal? What's that? You don't even know about medicinal crystals? This is a cultivation crystal that is even more precious than immortal spirit stones. In some black markets, the ratio of medicinal crystals to supreme-grade immortal spirit stones is as high as 1 to tens of thousands. I can't believe that medicinal crystals are so precious. Since this kid has a medicinal crystal in his hand, his identity must be extraordinary. Seeing Mo Qingyun take out the medicinal crystal, the crowd began to whisper among themselves and became interested in Mo Qingyun. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He realized that he seemed to have been too high-profile. Meanwhile, the white-browed old man stopped inspecting the medicinal crystals, and he turned around to look at Mo Qingyun before he said, "Young master, after my appraisal, your medicinal crystals are genuine, and they can replace immortal spirit stones in the auction. Senior, if I use medicinal crystals to participate in the auction, what is the ratio of supreme-grade immortal spirit stones?" Seeing that he had attracted attention, Mo Qingyun decided not to think too much about it and decided to obtain the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew first. Besides, he also wanted to know the true value of the medicinal crystal from the old man with white eyebrows. Chapter 1963. Although one medicinal crystal is equivalent to 30,000 top-grade immortal spirit stones in the black market, it's only 20,000 in the auction house. The white-browed old man showed a hesitant expression under Mo Qingyun's inquiry. After struggling for a while, he said, "We're not in the black market, so we can only give you the same price as the auction house. If you think it's okay, then bid with medicinal crystals. 1 to 20,000. Upon hearing the ratio given by the white-browed old man, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed and his heartbeat couldn't help but accelerate. Previously, he had only estimated the value of the medicinal crystals based on the immortal spiritual energy contained in the medicinal crystals. He didn't expect that the normal transaction price in the auction house was 1 to 20,000. It seemed that he had underestimated the value of the medicinal crystals and the preciousness of the myriad transformations medicinal crystal furnace. "I'll bid 10 medicinal crystals." Knowing that the medicinal crystals could be auctioned, Mo Qingyun no longer thought about it and immediately bid. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had started bidding, the others were no longer in a daze and continued to raise the bidding price. After a while, the bidding price of the Dragon Turtle Brew reached 10 million top-grade immortal spirit stones. "I'll bid 11 million top-grade immortal spirit stones." A young man wearing an iron mask called out a bid as he coldly glanced around the room. As the iron-masked young man looked around, the two black-clothed old men next to him released two powerful saint auras. When the two old men released their saint auras, they also lifted the sleeves on their arms, revealing a blood-colored flying sword emblem. Madman League. They are from the Madman League. It seems that the rumors are true. The Madman League really has countless powerhouses. This young man can be accompanied by two saint stage powerhouses. His identity in the Madman League must be very extraordinary. After knowing the identity of the iron-masked young man, some people who still wanted to compete gave up. When the crowd gave up, a young man with a black flute slightly curled his lips and contemptuously said, "So what if you're from the Madman League? If you're really so powerful, why did you come to the auction? Wouldn't it be better to just snatch it?" Shenchuli, don't think that I won't dare to touch you just because you're from the immortal slaying hall. Upon hearing the young man's words, the iron-masked young man coldly shouted and exuded a murderous aura. The immortal slaying hall was one of the forces near the sky-devouring glacier and was one of the Madman League's targets. However, the immortal slaying hall was too powerful. Even if the Mad Immortal Alliance used all their means, they were still unable to do anything to the immortal slaying hall. On the surface, the Mad Immortal Alliance was expanding, but in reality, the Mad Immortal Alliance and the Immortal Slaying Hall were secretly fighting. 15 million top-grade Immortal Spirit Stones. 15 million top-grade Immortal Spirit Stones. Hearing Shenchuli's offer, Situ Ching gritted his teeth, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. Situ Ching glanced coldly at Shenchuli, but he didn't argue with him. He called out his bid again and shouted, 20 million celestial spirit stones. 1,500 medicinal crystals. As soon as Situ Cheng's words fell, Mo Qingyun followed suit. He did not intend to withdraw from the competition. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had also joined in the fun, Situ Cheng's expression immediately turned solemn. He looked coldly at Mo Qingyun and said, "Kid, are you tired of living? You can't just join in the fun." From his point of view, Mo Qingyun's actions were like a slap to his face. "Situ Cheng, don't think too highly of yourself. There are many people who don't want to buy into your bid." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had also joined in the fun, Shenchuli smiled proudly and looked at Mo Qingyun treacherously. "Sir, I admire your courage very much. Since you are interested in the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew, I will fulfill your wish." As soon as Shenchuli finished speaking, he looked like he was waiting to watch a good show. He did not continue to bid. In this way, Situ Cheng's hatred for Shenchuli was completely transferred to Mo Qingyun. It had to be said that Shenchuli's move was very insidious. He had directly pushed Mo Qingyun to the forefront of the storm. 25 million top-grade celestial spirit stones. Although he understood that Shenchuli was trying to sow discord, Situ Cheng did not want to give up and immediately bid a higher price. Mo Qingyun's thoughts were not as complicated as Situ Cheng's. What he wanted was to compete for the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew. 3,000 elixir crystals. Seeing that Situ Cheng had increased the price, Mo Qingyun immediately followed suit. Mo Qingyun thought that since he was going to the sky-devouring ice river, he would have a conflict with the Madman League. In that case, why should he give in to Situ Cheng? He might as well test the waters first. "Kid, I hope you will have the chance to drink the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew after you win it." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had bid again, Situ Cheng's face darkened and he did not continue to compete with Mo Qingyun. Under normal circumstances, the price of a jar of Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew was about 20 million top-grade celestial spirit stones. Now that the price had already reached 30 million top-grade celestial spirit stones, he would become a fool if he continued to bid. More importantly, he was planning to kill Mo Qingyun and rob him of his belongings later. Putting that aside, there were 10 jars of Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew that were auctioned every day. He did not have to fight for this jar. Kid, wait until we leave Xuanwu City. I will let you know the consequences of offending me, Situcheng. Although Situcheng had given up on competing, his hatred for Mo Qingyun had not decreased in the slightest. Since Situcheng had also withdrawn from the competition, the winner of the first jar of Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew became Mo Qingyun. 3,000 elixir crystals for a jar of wine. I hope you won't disappoint me. After receiving the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew, Mo Qingyun opened it without hesitation and immediately poured a bowl for himself. When the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew was poured into the bowl, it immediately emitted a fiery wine aroma that quickly converged in midair. In a short moment, it converged into a dragon shadow and a Xuanwu shadow. The two of them were entangled in midair. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Situcheng's face darkened and he felt his face burning. He had just said that Mo Qingyun would not have a chance to drink the Dragon Turtle Immortal Brew, but Mo Qingyun was drinking it right in front of him. This slap to the face was not an ordinary kind of ruthless. Seeing Situcheng suffer another setback, Shuntuli, who was at the side, smiled complacently and instigated, Situcheng, I'm afraid your shady business of killing and robbing will fail. If your luck is good, you might be able to snatch an empty jar. Hearing Shenchuli's words, Situcheng did not refute, but the murderous intent in his eyes intensified. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.